Discover our collection of handcrafted candles. That's right, every product is thoughtfully created in small batches free from harmful toxins for mindful everyday indulgence. Our candles are hand-poured in coconut soy wax with natural wood wicks, offering a long-lasting burn and rich fragrances. Create a cozy, safe ambiance for your home with candles from Alley Rose Fragrances. First-time customers use the promo code InsideEdge20 to receive 20% off your order. AlleyRoseFragrances.com, proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Podcast Network.
Welcome to the main event here on the Inside Edge Network. We have a whole lot to talk about. We have Mother Nature almost helping the Guardians make history. We're going to talk some quarterbacks at some point in time. And then also, how many times can the Dodgers kill baseball before they actually kill baseball? That and so much more here on the main event. We got AA Anthony Alford typing furiously at something. We got Eli Moon smiling furiously at something. And I am Rob Rozycki talking furiously, hopefully at more than a few people here. How are we all doing today, gentlemen?
Oh, man, we are doing great, Rob. Appreciate you asking, man. It's good to see everybody. I know last week I was running around. I made a little bit of an appearance, but obviously we're closing out Moon Bash Day 2, DJ night, and I know AA was, broadcasting his portion of the show at Brothers Lounge. We appreciate the hospitality and a lot of great stuff coming up there. But, yeah, I'm doing great, man. I got to be honest. The rain happened, whatever. I helped move my cousin in. Guys, I'm going to be honest. I'm becoming a pro at moving. I never thought, if you guys were to ask 18-year-old Eli Moon, what would be one of the things you're like really, really good at? If you would have told me moving, I don't know. But here I am. I'm moving. I'm getting my steps in. I'm feeling good. I'm almost feeling like, that was my workout for the month. So I'm good for August. I'm feeling great. AA, what's up, man?
Well, hold on, AA here. And see if you, I think you'll second me on this one. When you move into your 30s, Moon, moving, you won't be excited for that anymore. When you get to that fourth decade of life, that'll be the age that you want to start calling people to possibly pay them to just deal with all of your crap. Because I could say in my 40s, and I moved a couple of times so far in my 40s, that's the last thing I want to do is just pick up all of my stuff and drop it somewhere else.
That's why I don't want to move from where I'm at right now.
Dude, that's a no. The longer you're in a spot, the less you want to get out of it, man. Because you also notice too, especially if life is moving in the right direction for you, you always move in or move out with more stuff than you move in with. So maybe the 6 or 7 boxes, a couch and a couple of milk crates turns into, a life over the course of 3 or 4 or 5, 6 years, whatever it's going to be. You don't want to move. Yeah, I completely get it.
Dude, it was something. I'll tell you. I'm sitting there, and Papa Moon, so it was my aunt next door, and shout out, to her, and my cousin getting a new house. That's awesome. And, we're moving, and Papa Moon's like, I'm going to go over and move food boxes. And he did, and, he did his part. My Papa's almost 60 years old, 59. And I'm like, okay, I'm moving. And I just turned 29 on Thursday, guys. Officially 29.
Oh, happy birthday. We just completely sailed by that one. Happy birthday.
It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. But I'll tell you this. I felt every bit of 29. I got to be honest. Is this what I have to look forward to in my 30s, AA? I mean, Rob, is this what I have to look forward to in the future? Let
me put it to you this way, Moon. Let me put it to you this way. Yeah. I don't know what I would give, but it would be a lot to have one day that I could feel like I was 29 again.
Well, I've been here for a few days as a 29-year-old, and
I get it. I get it. And, in your defense, young child, you're as old right now as you've ever been. It's weird for you. But
tomorrow you get to say the same statement.
We can all say that, everybody. That's why I try to give you a break on it. There are, I'm sure, a lot of people, even watching us right now, that would give a body part or two, possibly, maybe a child, to have just a moment of feeling like 29 all over. My knees do. Oh my God. Knees and back. That's what I'm talking about with the whole moving thing. You help somebody out move when you're 34, 35, even, where I'm at right now, dude, that's like a 4 or 5 day long. I'm going to be not good. This is going to be like hangovers, same way. You can walk a hangover off in a day and a half day. For me, it's going to be like 4 or 5 days. For AA, it's like 3. Bro, no.
Eli, the part of the statement that you said that I fear was, I did my workout for the month. That's it's August 2nd.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I give you credit for knocking it out of the way early. I mean, there's no procrastination there. But.
There's 30 more days. I mean, what are we doing?
Double A. Who's counting? Who's counting? That's all I'm saying. It's like
Double A.
And your body is counting.
I know. I get it.
Your stomach is counting.
I won't admit that I am on my third caffeinated beverage that has 23 flavors in it of the night. But look, we're getting after it. Like 18,000 steps over last weekend. I moved a house today. Yes. I am getting after it, folks. In fact, I think I need what they would call in the workout business a rest day.
A day, not month.
Well, I'm going to try to negotiate for the month. I'm going to try to negotiate.
There's a big difference between a day and a month.
This guy right here, man.
Yeah, you love me. Come on.
I feel great. I'm good.
The 6.5 minutes into the show.
Yeah, the weekend's great. Yeah, I'm ready to go. Well, hopefully, I'm going to get a haircut later in the week. Like, the schedule was kind of thrown off because, like, Barbara, you celebrated his birthday, so he took some time off. But he's back. See, my thing, though, I have to wait until, like, Friday or I have a schedule. So when the schedule's thrown off, I can't just say, like, I'm going to go in on Tuesday. No, there's a particular schedule that I have to follow. Yeah. So we got to get it back on track. So I'm going to have another week where this is a little rough up here, but that's okay. That's okay.
I haven't been to a barber in 12 years.
Dude, well, oh, my goodness.
Rob, you can always get a lineup, buddy.
Yeah, exactly, Rob. Exactly.
What I did, and I've had to I think I've invested like 2 or 3 into my time now, is you get a hair trimmer and you just do it yourself. That's, it's not that like this is just permanently this length and I'm just doing the whole Paul Feinbaum here. But you just do that. You spend $35 2 or 3 times over 12 years instead of $12, 15. I don't even know how much a haircut costs right now. Is it 10? Is it 20? Is it 30? What?
No.
For me, it's including tip, almost $50.
Yeah, about $50.
Are you
$60.
fucking kidding me?
No,
including tip. Like the service, I think is $40, and then you include tip, so about $46, $47.
Yeah, I
paid. So I only go. So I go once a month. Mm-hmm. But ideally I would.
Is that a recent thing? Is that just like in the last 18 or so months since we're making America great again, or is that
I would say probably in the last.
Can I blame Trump?
Since COVID.
Yeah, definitely since COVID.
Okay, that's kind of Trump.
I think a lot of it too, though, with the barbershop stuff is like a lot of people, you see the entrepreneurship with a lot of different businesses and whatnot, and they're not, a lot of these barbershops aren't under your typical big corporations or whatever. So a lot of them are mom and pops, and they're charging for the service like anything, and yeah, it may be a lot out of people's price range.
$50 for a hair, dude. The mafia, it was a mom and pop organization. Like, come on. Like, God, Jesus.
Hey, I get it though. It's all the cost of services and cost of living.
Right.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, man.
Yeah, one of those costs of living apparently is getting your haircut for $50 a pop.
Hey,
and that's nothing compared to gas prices these days. My goodness.
Right. And look, and then my last statement. I know we got to get into it. Look, it pays to look good. That's all I'll say. It pays to look good.
It kind of does.
The one thing I think we can all be happy about is that we're in that aspect, we're not chicks. Because I talked to Nikki, and she doesn't get her hair done often. Like, she is not any close to high maintenance, period. But when she does, and it's nothing big. It's nothing she's not going like Real Housewives hairdo or anything like that. And it's like, yeah, 150, 200. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no. And this is where we have nothing on women, because the amount of money women have to spend on their bodies for just normal services, they get demolished.
Well, you learn that with.
I mean, guys have bad toenails too, but we can't touch that. I mean,
you learn that with prom. When you're a 16, 17-year-old kid, you learn that with prom, because you can go get your tux, make sure your hair is cut in a timely fashion, and you're shaved, and you're fine. Just shower before you get ready to go. And meanwhile, like, you talk to your date and like, yes, we're starting 72 hours before the event. We have our, whatever we have a crew of 30 people. We have to get, a Secret Service detail ready to go. No, I'm cool. Like, yeah, just let me do this. I'll be, if I'm going to pick you up at 7, I'll get ready at 6.
Rob, I have a question for you. Actually, Eli, you want me to ask, or do you want to?
I think I know where you're going, but you know what, Double A? I hate being wrong sometimes, so you know what? I'll leave it to you.
Have you ever heard of the term everything shower?
A what?
An everything shower.
Everything? Is it like an everything bagel?
Well, I mean, it's
wait, hold on. Is it something we can talk about on YouTube?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's okay. You say shower. That's another direction we want to. Okay.
Well, there's different types of
about?
showers, of course. But yeah, so what we're talking about is like, when you wash your hair and you wash like your face and you wash like your neck and your armpits and your lower half.
Yes.
And your midsection.
Your man region.
Yeah, your toes and everything too. And like, that's an everything shower. You hit everything. And sometimes it includes shaving, for the ladies, shaving or whatever and getting after it. So that's an everything shower. We've learned over the weekend, usually we do this at the end of the show, but I'll give a little extra one here. What we've also learned over this weekend.
No, this is what Eli learned. I know this already.
Oh, yeah, okay. Don't you throw me under the bus. Oh, whatever. I learned there's 72% showers. I've learned there's 85% showers. I've learned there's even sometimes going more than an everything shower. Everything and then some showers.
Basically, the moral of the story, women don't wash their hair every day.
Right.
So, because, it messes things up. So they don't wash their hair and then,
I mean, I have
too, but.
I mean, again, as the old dude of the group here, I'm getting kind of set in my morning routine or, getting ready routine. So I don't really, the only time that kind of deviates is, oh shit, I overslept. Oh shit, I got to be somewhere that I forgot about, like whatever, and I got to get in and out.
Yeah.
But no, I got basically 2 types. I got my normal daily whatever,
yes,
and then I have all of that plus the shave and upkeep of all of that. Like that adds normally another 15 minutes on, but like that's once a week maybe. And then
perfect. No, you just said the key word. The Google definition is once a week. You take everything showers.
Yeah, and then I guess I have probably one other touch up of this a week too. Like I'll make sure this is a little bit more, kind of refined than this.
I gotta do the same here. I gotta do the same here. I got the cream and all that. Eli, you gotta take care of yours. Yours look good. You gotta make sure it's.
Hey, easy, buddy.
You gotta
easy.
make sure you maintain the upkeep.
I know. I was talking to somebody over the weekend. They're like, man, your hair looks so good. And it reminded me that it's been like 2 months almost since I got a haircut. So I'm going to go this upcoming weekend, like next weekend. I'm going to get my hair cut, get it freshened up, especially after that comment you just made that you need to, like, out of everybody, you just singled me out and said, look, you need to maintain yours. Okay, look, I'm a lion, dude. I got a lion's mane, all right? Look,
don't worry. That's why I'm very happy the way my camera's set up. My hair is off the
Well, I've noticed that with you, Moon. It seems like you'll get to everything done and you'll have that like, hipster IPA look going. Yeah. And then that'll just gradually turn into I'm one of the hill people.
Well, I like to think of it like Hogwarts, like when they have Dumbledore and he's got like, or Hagrid. It's just up to discretion, but that's like the vibe.
Did you say Dumbledore?
I heard that.
What is
Door?
Whatever.
Hey, Rob, can I give like 30 seconds? I have quick thoughts on SummerSlam.
Sure. I mean, we're definitely talking about really important shit right now. We can probably, derail that for some more really important shit. What's up?
I thought tonight, besides WrestleMania 40, was Triple H's best show that he has put together and produced. A lot of closed ends. That Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins main event. Fantastic storytelling. A lot of recall. A lot of closing the gap. No interference. A clean winner. And then Kevin Owens coming back. That was huge. That was fun. I think all the matches tonight was fun and really, really advanced some good stories. And I'll tell you what, the SmackDown roster all of a sudden loaded with main eventers. I can't say the same for the Monday show, but SummerSlam really delivered. Yesterday was solid, not spectacular, but solid. Obafemi is the guy. I actually went to a store earlier today. I had the shirt, and the lady at Old Navy was like, "You see Obafemi last night?" Like, yeah. It's like, that's my dude. Obafemi. Like, so
that's awesome.
So Obafemi has fans, and I think WWE is in good shape. It's going to be a good month for wrestling in general, because for AEW fans later on, you got All In London, but they got to deliver there. But I thought if you're a WWE fan, SummerSlam really delivered.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree.
When you say Triple H's second best show, isn't that like saying like that was the Browns' second best game of the season?
It would
the bar's pretty low.
Well, it's not as low as it was in the Vince McMahon days. Now, I will admit, this past summer.
Well, the tail end of the Vince McMahon, I'll give you that. But Vince did a few things right.
Right. Well, I will admit, like this past summer, creatively, a lot of things were down. Mm-hmm. I'll even say Monday Night Raw leading into SummerSlam creatively was not really good at all.
Well,
but
how much was it? Like, I understand. Like, there was kind of a theory on, is Triple H bad at his job, or is it the fact that the TKO brass really knows nothing about wrestling and was trying to throw in celebrities and trying to gussy up some of these cards without a proper build up, and really not respecting the fan, and Triple H was kind of getting overridden in a lot of that kind of stuff?
That's a good question, and I'll give you a stat, and you guys can interpret this stat however you want based on Rob's question. This was the first SummerSlam since 2023 where Jelly Roll did not participate.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness.
Okay, that's making the needle trend in the right direction for me.
I just, I know we got a lot to talk about. I will say I agree with Double A. It was a really solid show tonight. Even Papa Moon, we were very invested in the Danhausen Human Monies on a pole match against Dominic Mysterio. That was great. But my one fear was when Randy Orton came out yesterday, beat Cody Rhodes' ass, I was scared that Pat McAfee was going to be running behind him in going into the ring as well. But he didn't. So we're good. We're all right.
And I think this is something we can stick in a file for a later date. Is Jelly Roll this generation's Kid Rock?
No, I don't know.
When you think about WWE involvement, like any point in time 20 years ago, it was Kid Rock. It could have been Jelly Roll now. Like you can kind of sub them out.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to elaborate on that, does that mean like 20 years from now he's going to be a heavy part of somebody's presidential campaign?
Oh no! I mean, dude, look. If you want an idea of
he might be running for president in 20 years. Look,
if you want an idea of celebrities doing it right, Lil Yachty. Lil Yachty did, the manager for Chuck Williams. He doesn't overstay his welcome. Like we were talking earlier, Double A and I, that that table spot when he went through the table, probably his way to go on tour or something, because he's an artist, obviously. But that's the right way to do it. I think that sometimes they overdo it. Jelly Roll too much, and Pat McAfee too much. Some of these guys is too much.
When they start getting to be active combatants.
Right.
Now, and what I'll give McAfee, though, is like he legitimately trained. I think it was Rip Oliver he was training with for a few months. Like he took it serious. It wasn't just kind of like, hey, I'm going to screw around and just be, that guy. Like the dude could move. Like, and I'll give him that. Like, I think if he actually just said, and he'll never do it because it's too much money. If he just put ESPN away and said, I'm not going to do that, and wanted to just be a wrestling heel, I think he could do a very good job at that.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is that he's not just a wrestling heel. And I think it seems like, anyway, what the fans get disenfranchised with is when you try to bring in some of these guys to wrestle serious matches or be a part of serious. You're right, Moon. Like, I don't mind, the celebrity manager or, somebody, maybe getting involved with a slap in a match, like what I know Carl Anthony Towns was putting guys through tables, but, if you're giving shit, sitting in the front row or something like that, like that's kind of what the old school WrestleMania 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of tradition is. But whenever they're now better at wrestling than the wrestlers, that's a problem.
Right. Right. No, I agree. Yeah, I think like the Double A's point, my overall SummerSlam thoughts were for somebody that hasn't watched the weekly shows in closer to 2 years now on a consistent basis and just gets his highlights, and I obviously watch the Side Hustle Wrestling podcast here on the Inside Edge Network to get my updates.
Good plug.
Thank you, of course. Hey. But I guess this actually gave me a reason to at least watch SmackDown. Give me a reason to start getting invested again because there's a ton of top guys like Double A said now in that main event scene, and I don't know. We'll see. I may change my mind by Friday and say, you know what, I have other things to do. But it at least started to get wrestling fans invested again. It felt like when Triple H first took over and started getting people like invested into the product again. That's what it felt like.
That's good, and that it seems like, and I feel bad for wrestling fan because they are one of the most loyal, devoted, militant entities out there. They rival Marvel and Disney and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And they have been mistreated big time. And I think all of it, if in a large scope kind of situation, if they just kind of, if it's TKO, if it's Triple H, if it's whoever, just respect the fans and include the fans. And part of that is not gouging, and this ain't going to change, but not gouging the fans literally for every plug nickel they have at every chance you possibly, because that's what's going to take a lot of people out of it. But if they just start respecting the fan more and respecting wrestling more, like they got to understand wrestling is not movies, is not conventional sports, it's its own thing. And you have to kind of abide by the unwritten rules of it, or you're going to lose the fans real quick.
That is true. That's a big, I'm glad you said that too. That's huge. And at least this weekend, without other than little Yachty, like basically every single match was just wrestlers.
It was a wrestling card.
It was a wrestling card. So seeing the main event, like this was a perfect time. And it hasn't happened often, but you have hot main eventers. The upper mid card is hot. Like the newbies are hot. And then the up and comers, like they're kind of hot too. So it's like finding spots and things. So you got a lot of superstars right now who are over, and it's going to be up to the creative team to keep fans interested, especially now because we're about to head into football season. That's the tough season, keeping people invested through the fall. Like,
the Road to Survivor Series.
Yeah, like why should people have Netflix on instead of Monday Night Football? Like that's always going to be the tricky thing. But they're off to a decent start, pretty good start this past weekend. So we'll definitely see if anybody was able to.
Is this the first? And I just got a real quick question. Is this the first football season that Netflix has Raw for?
Second year.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Second year.
Because I'm just kind of curious to see like how much of the with Netflix you can watch it whenever you want. So like that's something like I'm kind of curious to see how that would affect it. Like how many people would watch Monday Night Raw, Tuesday afternoon or late Monday night or whatever, if they were wanting to see the Cowboys face the Eagles or the Cowboys face the Giants or the Cowboys face Washington or the Cowboys face the Niners or the Cowboys face whoever on Monday night.
But the turnoff for that, though, to be brutally honest,
I think they're putting an inter-squad scrimmage, actually, Cowboys v. Cowboys on Monday night this year.
Yeah, that would be true. Yes. Yeah. Stephen A. on the call.
No. Dak playing for both teams.
Netflix heavily edits the shows.
Right.
Heavily.
Right.
Like, you think Disney's bad. Like, Netflix, if you say mother effer, like, even if you say mother sucker, the BET edit is too strong.
Which is weird because you would think they'd be able to get away with that. Might be more of a WWE call than Netflix call, because it seemed like when they first got on Netflix, they were, cursing like a sailor.
But the thing was, like, when they were, like, when we were doing shows on Peacock, like Cody Rhodes kicked off the feud with The Rock and John Cena last year, saying "Go F yourself." Like he said the full word,
right?
Go F yourself on Peacock. Like, and it wasn't edited. I think you could.
Yeah, everyone's acting like Shane Douglas on ECW at that rate. Yeah, I remember that.
Well, like this past Monday, I remember I watched Raw late one time, like 12 hours late, and I think one of the wrestlers might have been Brock Lesnar, flicked off the camera, that was blurred. They edit that part out.
Yeah.
They edit everything. They go through segment by segment and re-edit any cursing, any upset. Like, I'm like, this is Netflix.
What about like headshots and stuff too? Do they take those out?
Yeah. They do.
That's a little screwy. Like you would think, at the very least, and grant you, no kid would want to watch the what we would say the PG edit of like I could see them doing, having this is the unedited one that aired as deal, and this is the one that is streamlined, we'll call it, but takes a lot of that kind of controversial stuff out.
Yeah, but real quick, I'll make this quick. They do, I think, like 3, maybe 4 edits of the same stream. Like they'll do the, when you flip on live, you have your live stream, and then I think and that's with commercials and stuff. And I think as the show goes on, at some point, probably like 30 or 40 minutes in, they'll go through and like re-edit to make sure the commercials air, but sometimes they don't. That's why you tune in late and you don't get commercials. And then like 2 hours in, they'll re-edit it again and insert the commercials.
Right.
And then the 4th edit is the final streamlined. We take out all the cursing, take out the full edits and stuff. So they'll have the final edit probably, I would say, 30 minutes after the live feed of the show ends. So like if you tune in, if you tune in, let's see, the show starts at 8. If you tune in by 11, you're going to get the edited broadcast.
Well, and I'm kind of glad they're going back to the edited broadcast, and they can, do it like the good old days when, I would turn on the TV on Saturday at 9:30 in the morning to see, Jake the Snake use his Cobra to bite the shit out of Macho Man Randy Savage. Again, at 9:30 in the morning on a TV show marketed towards children. You've all seen it. I watched it shit live. And again, I'm 9. Like, okay, what do we watch that or do we watch Thundercats? That's what the question was at that point in time.
Oh, sorry.
That's why I don't know anything about Saturday morning cartoons. So yeah, like, oh God, it's just so screwy. Okay, this is the main event here on the Inside Edge Network. We promised to get a quick start to the show, so that's why we are about 30 minutes in, and all we've gotten is grooming habits and SummerSlam reaction. Let's take a quick break here, actually. We'll just call it right now. We will get into the Guardians and all of their kerfuffle, all of their situations happening right now. They had a game today with some controversy. They had, obviously, a lack of any sort of action in the trade deadline, which is happening in about 15 hours or so here as we talk to you at almost midnight here on the East Coast. So yeah, we'll get into all of that stuff. Obviously, we're going to talk some quarterbacks here. We got Brown's quarterback situation happening between with the only team that has no quarterbacks ranked 70 or higher in Madden football. We will get into Deshaun v. Shador. Double A asked the net some questions about quarterbacks in general. We will go over Double A's findings. And we have so much more ready to go here on the main event on the Inside Edge Net. I am Rob Rozycki, Double A in the middle. We got Eli Moon flanking him. We'll be right back here in just a few minutes.
Key On Sports is the leader in Ohio high school athletic coverage in written, print, and video streaming. From the latest news and results and written content to the high school football game of the week every Friday, Key On Sports has you covered. The vision of 15-time published author Vince McKee has become the most trusted site in Ohio high school athletic news. From podcasts to player profiles, Key On Sports is your one-stop for all of it. Visit them today at keyonsports.com or on YouTube at Key On Sports. Check out their socials on Twitter and Facebook as well.
Clean energy, bold flavors, and no jitters. See why people won't shut up about Dubby. Clean energy, no jitters or crash. Whether you're starting your workday or getting ready to exercise, Dubby Energy helps you lock in and focus. With over 15 flavors to choose from, you can't miss. Order Dubby Energy right now by using the QR code on your screen and use the promo code INSIDEEDGE10 to receive 10% off your order. Dubby Energy, your energy-focused sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Discover our collection of body mists made with clean, minimal ingredients. Handcrafted with natural essential oils and clean ingredients, they offer a natural alternative to synthetic fragrances. Perfect for sensitive skin and those seeking clean, mindful self-care, and the perfect gift for you or your special someone. Courtesy of Alley Rose Fragrances. First-time customers, use that promo code InsideEdge20 to receive 20% off your order. AlleyRoseFragrances.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Whether searching for a baseball autographed by your favorite World Series slugger, a signed football by an iconic Hall of Famer, or the jersey of a world-famous soccer star, you've come to the right place. Here at SportsMemorabilia.com, the web's leading source of authentic sports memorabilia, you'll find more than 500,000 authentic products from nearly every professional sports league, team, and players. Not only will you find your next prized sports possession with ease thanks to superb customer service and tremendous site experience, you'll have the satisfaction and peace of mind that every product listed comes complete with a certificate of authenticity and is fully backed by the SportsMemorabilia.com lifetime authenticity guarantee. Go to SportsMemorabilia.com by using the QR code on your screen right now. SportsMemorabilia.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Podcast Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Find us on InsideEdgeNetwork.com for the latest information on your favorite shows, personalities, and network partners. Plus, guess what? We have a merch shop. That's right, we have network polos, t-shirts, champion jackets, hats, and bottles. Rep the network. Every purchase supports independent sports and entertainment media. Use the QR code on your screen right now to check out InsideEdgeNetwork.com. That's InsideEdgeNetwork.com.
Hope you guys have a great weekend. Coming up Monday on Midnight Run, hopefully LeBron makes a decision, because if he...
Fanatics isn't just our name, it's who we are. Loyal, passionate fans dedicated to our favorite teams and to the sports we love. That's why we're honored to be able to offer fans the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and sports jerseys from all leagues, teams, and players you love. We feature a wide selection of gear from every league, including the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, and NCAA merchandise, which allows us to serve fans of football, baseball, hockey, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, golf, and, well, everything else that gets your heart pumping. Go to Fanatics.com by using the QR code on your screen right now to celebrate your teams. That's Fanatics.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader.
Small business owners are superheroes, but nowadays running your business means doing so inside your shop and on social media. That's why you should make Omega Video Marketing your sidekick.
With a decade of content creation experience, I create dynamic, informative, and fun videos for your specific social needs that will increase brand awareness, get you more followers, and keep your social pages and websites current and fresh.
I offer flexible pricing and turn times and will work with you to understand your brand and your story. All of that comes from the heart. My award-winning expertise is just the cherry on top. So let's get connected. After all, your brand is the alpha and my expertise is the omega.
Discover our collection of handcrafted candles. That's right, every product is thoughtfully created in small batches free from harmful toxins for mindful everyday indulgence. Our candles are hand-poured in coconut soy wax with natural wood wicks, offering a long-lasting burn and rich fragrances. Create a cozy, safe ambiance for your home with candles from Alley Rose Fragrances. First-time customers use the promo code InsideEdge20 to receive 20% off your order. AlleyRoseFragrances.com, proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Podcast Network. Mosser Moments Photography is a husband and wife wedding photography team based in Cleveland, owned and operated by Inside Edge Network's very own Ryan Mosser and his wife Hallie. For the past 10 years, they've captured more than 100 weddings across Northeast Ohio and beyond, always working together as a true two-person team. Their style centers on authentic, emotional storytelling, documenting the real moments between two people in love and creating images that feel natural, comfortable, and true to the couple. Rooted in Northern Ohio but inspired by their travels, Ryan and Hallie bring a warm, personal approach to every wedding day. Their work blends experience, consistency, and a genuine passion for helping couples relive their best day through timeless photography. Learn more at monstermomentsphotography.com by using the QR code on your screen right now. monstermomentsphotography.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader.
Hello. Welcome back to the main event here on the Inside Edge Network. I'm just surprised at some points and times we can dress ourselves in the morning, let alone get on air. I'm Rob Rozycki. We got Double A Anthony Alford, Eli Moon. Gentlemen, how are we doing with this baseball team? We are getting into the nitty-gritty of the trade deadline. We wanted to talk about this in the first segment, but we digressed far too long here. Double A now getting his WrestleMania T-shirt out for everyone to see. We have a situation happening with the Guardians right now. We are frustrated. We are irritated. We are flabbergasted, and we are 18 hours away. I believe the trade deadline is about 3 p.m. tomorrow. And the Guardians, the only move of note they have had is trading away Bo Naylor. That's pretty much it. And meanwhile, a lot of other big deals are happening in baseball. Eli, I in the pre-show meeting, you were quite irritated about this ball club. I guess I'll just give you the floor here and let you kind of vent your frustrations.
Yeah, I mean, it's just fucking bullshit. I mean, for like a better words. I mean, come on, dude. Like,
real talk with Eli Moon. Jesus Christ.
I mean, sorry.
I don't think you're strongly expressing your thoughts and feelings about this situation.
I have to laugh.
You can open up a little bit more.
Yeah, let me start over. Because I guess, this is what happens. I have to laugh to stop from crying. Because I'm so pissed off. It's like, I talked to Papa Moon last weekend, and we were talking about the 95 Indians at the time, the 97 Indians, and especially that 95 team that didn't win the World Series, but went to the World Series against the Atlanta Braves. I get it was a lot of homegrown guys, but that batting order, that lineup was incredible. There was nobody batting below 270, 280 on that team. They were incredible. Those were the heydays. They went out and made moves. They went out and tried to go get it. They did things. Papa Moon remembers when this team actually was active at the trade deadline, at moments when they were competing as a World Series competitor. Guys, it's been 10 years since the Guardians were in the World Series. They were a different name the last time they were in the World Series. Let that register. They were the Cleveland Indians still at that time. And here we are. Every year, we talk about, man, I really hope, guys, the Guardians can make a move. If they could go out and get this guy or this guy. And then we end up with guys that we trade for today. Earlier today. And it's so infuriating. I am so tired of it. I love this Guardians team. I'm a baseball guy. Papa Moon raised me on baseball. But how many times can I keep getting punched in the face by this front office, this ownership that doesn't want to do anything? Why should I care? Why should anybody around my age, Double A's age, even your age, Rob, why should people care about this team except for when they go to the ballpark, get to have a brew, get to have a dollar dog, get to see some fireworks, and go home and not care about baseball anymore? This is one of many problems with baseball. Baseball as a whole has a marketing issue, has a lot of issues. Obviously, we'll talk about that later on. But right now, let's just stay Cleveland-centric. The last time the Guardians were as active as I can remember at the trade deadline was when they went to the World Series. So I don't know. Let's just put on our thinking caps here for a minute. We made moves at the trade deadline. We went to the World Series. We haven't made moves, and we've been in the same spot. We haven't been in the World Series. So I don't know. Maybe make some moves, and you'll be a little bit beneficial to your team, to this city, to Jose Ramirez, who has consistently taken a pay cut. But no. The Dolans, they just love it. They love it. They eat it up that they can go vacation wherever the fuck they want because they're not spending money on their baseball team. And I'm tired of it. Excuse the language. I'm never this mad. I'm heated, though, because, Rob, we sat here, Double A, we sat here last October, and everybody's like, oh, the Guardians, they did it 15 and a half games back, and they did it just to lose in the wild card round. And here we are, Craig Yoho and Blake Perkins. And I'm sure they're fantastic gentlemen, and I'm sure they're great for the community, but I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn about this team right now because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of a guy that's batting 147, 1 home run being brought in. Yes, Yoho may be a good bullpen piece, and I did ask for a bullpen piece. Okay. But damn, bro, every time we go to make a move or don't make a move or we discuss making a move, we don't do anything substantial. This is why the Yankees are kicking our ass every year. This is why the Rays have put belt to ass to us before. This is why any team, the Astros have put belt to ass. I mean, do the Guardians just like getting there? We spend so much time talking about the Cavaliers. And are they going to make a move to benefit their roster? And I understand. But you know what the Cavaliers have to show for themselves in the last 10 years that the Guardians don't? A championship. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of pleading with this baseball team to make a move. And instead, they go, you know what, Eli? We love you so much. Here's Craig Yoho and Blake Perkins. Chew on that one for the summer. My God, bro, I'm tired of it. I don't care if they win 10 games in a row. They aren't getting past the first round. And here's the reality, Rob, and I'll hand it back to you because I think I've articulated enough here for a moment. If the Guardians,
I got a stat that's going to piss you off.
Oh my God. Well, I'm there. But let's get even hotter because it's like if the Guardians don't make a move, I said this earlier on primetime this past week. If the Guardians don't make a move at the deadline, and this doesn't, I'm going to be real. I know AA showed up the trade details. Thank you, AA. Appreciate you. That's not a move. That is literally just getting rid of Bo Naylor, moving on. That is not a move unless Craig Yoho becomes a second coming of Andrew Miller. If the Guardians don't make a move at the deadline, guys and girls, everybody out there, start getting ready for Cavaliers beginning of the regular season. Let's hope that the Browns have figured out their quarterback and start getting ready for other things. You know what? Come out, rock out of your local music shows, your events, community events. Find something to do because you know where the Guardians are going to be, Rob and AA? I have a few spots over there in the sectional. Papa Moon's set up for Real Talk with Papa Moon Saturdays at 5 here on the Inside Edge Network. You know what? I'll call up Stephen Kwan. I'll call up Jose Ramirez. Maybe I'll call up, some of these other guys. I'll get on the phone. And I'll say, Cade Smith, guys, you want to come on over and sit on the sectional? Because you're damn sure not playing in the postseason. If the Guardians don't make a move, Rob, AA, it's over. It's over. And you know what? It's going to be a sad day because that'll be 2 years of no playoff baseball because we're looking at a damn lockout probably. That's my thoughts. I'm tired of giving this team the benefit of the doubt. They are literally just... I don't even know. I don't even know anymore. I don't even know with this team anymore.
Rob,
so... what if I told you the payroll right now, the current team is about 57.2 million bucks. That's bad. We all know that's bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What if I also told you that the payroll of the 1997 ball club, the team that went to the World Series almost 30 years ago now, was $1.6 million higher. 58.8 million. They were spending more on their roster while Clinton was in office compared to what they are now. Now, part of me wants to give him a pat on the back saying, bro, you managed to figure out a way in this current system to not pay a lot of money for wins. But that being said, I think what we've seen is with this kind of spending and with this kind of shortchanging on the roster, there's only a cap to where you can go. There's only a limit to, and it's not the World Series, and it's not winning it at the very least, if not even getting there. And I think, what you're more irritated with right now is that it seems like it's almost fait accompli, where if you don't make a move and if you don't invest in this team at all, then we could make the playoffs. I'm not as pessimistic as you are with that. Like, I think they could very well make it, but that's really not me talking up this current ball club. That's me not having a lot of faith in a very young White Sox team. That's me not having a lot of faith in whatever the fuck Minnesota's doing. And then looking at Boston too and saying, all right, they're where they're at right now. I think they're the second wild card team because they're on an epic heater. Will that continue? We don't know. That's really just kind of me saying the American League's wide open. It's not really saying the Guardians are all that great. I mean, can they be one of the top 6 teams in the league? I don't see why not, but we all know what's going to happen. And we saw it happen last year. Yeah, we were happy that 15.5, we came back, we got the division, and then we promptly got our asses handed to us by the team that we overcame in the division. So it's not even like we faced the Yankees or we faced a buzzsaw. We faced a team that was kind of where we were at and still got our asses kicked. So,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many times the fans can go through this situation over and over again, and stay with it. Honestly, because this is really the most frustrating point of the regular season to be a Guardians fan, when you're watching all these teams make moves, when you're watching all this stuff get moved around, and your team's really not going to do much.
That, and you brought the point up, Rob, about the White Sox. Nobody thought they'd be here in August. Chad Bryan, who returns this Monday tomorrow on Inside Edge Prime Time, I'm sure he'll have some thoughts on these Guardians. And Luis
and
Castillo.
Fire alarms, from what I understand. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he had a weekend, man, or last week. I can't wait to talk to him. But Luis Castillo, a Chicago White Sox now. He's part of that organization. He pitched very well in Seattle, and now he adds to a portion of the team that they needed to improve on. Oh my goodness, it sounds like the Chicago White Sox see that there's an opportunity to win a championship, or at least be in contention, so they're going to strengthen their roster. The Guardians are completely okay being the Portland Trailblazers of the MLB. And what I mean by that is, we remember Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum. Yes, they had a star, almost like we have Jose Ramirez, right? And they have this guy that's going to get them there, and they're going to get there, and they're going to lose in the second round. And, whether it's Golden State or LA at the time or whoever, they're going to lose in the second round. And the Guardians are okay with that, because you know what? People are going to go to the ballpark, they're going to eat their dollar dogs, they're going to have their fireworks, they're going to do their thing. And then they're going to go to the postseason, and they're going to drop off. It's so infuriating, though, because it's like, you see the White Sox make a move for Castillo. The Yankees just made a move earlier on tonight.
Ray's got a pitcher, too.
Yeah, Luis Garcia to New York. Like you mentioned, Rob, teams are getting better. They're getting better. And the Guardians are like, no, you know what? We're not. We don't want to do that. There's guys still out there that can improve this roster, but they don't care. And you could say, well, maybe the lockout's impending, maybe this or maybe that. But it's like, but the lockout wasn't here last year, and they did the same thing. And the lockout wasn't impending 2 years ago, and they did the same thing. And I can go back 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 8, 9 years where they have done this. I can't remember. The best offense I can remember for this team in the last 10 years, besides 2016, was that 2018 team with Mike Napoli and all those guys, when they went on that heater, that 20-something game win streak. That's the best offense I've seen, probably as a Guardians fan, and that's crazy.
Well, the thing is too and we glorify it when we win, but we don't say anything about it when we lose. And I like and that's the whole guards ball idea. Like, we forget that guards ball came here out of necessity. Guards ball was invented by Tito Francona, who, had really no offensive firepower whatsoever, and figured out a way to win games with smoke and mirrors.
Right.
That's what guards ball was really kind of incepted. And, it was long before Stephen Vogt. And it was there because it had to be there. It was the only way we could win games. And what I'm irritated with is, again, you mentioned it when, Vogt talks about it when they win. He talks about guards ball when they win. No, I don't know. You guys ever see the old George Carlin routine back in the day about athletes who thank God when they win?
Yeah.
He was very curious, like, why don't you ever get pissed when you lose? Why don't you ever get mad at God when you lose? It's always his will when you win, but you never factor that in when you lose. And I think the only athlete I've ever seen get pissed off with the heavens, when Pedro Martinez would get pulled from games, you could see him looking up and, getting mad at the higher power. That I respect. Okay. Guards ball is the same thing. Like, okay, if you win because of guards ball, you lose because of guards ball. Look at yesterday. They lost because they had a 7th run. They gave up a 7-run 7th inning.
Right.
And now grant you, when you give up 7 runs in an inning, your chances of winning go down dramatically, no matter who you are. But that's just kind of a personification of, like, for guards ball to work, yeah, you need your 1 or 2 runs, maybe 3, but then everything needs to go perfectly. The starting pitching needs to go perfectly. The bullpen needs to do it. You need to play great defense. You need to have sound base running. You can't commit any other mistakes besides not being able to hit the broadside of a barn. Right. And the Guardians have not been doing that. They have been horrible out of the All-Star break. They have been screaming for a change. The fans are screaming for a change. We're tired of seeing this lineup they've used over 100 different lineups this year in 100 games. That's nuts, because they're trying to squeeze blood from a stone. They're trying to use any combination they can. They got, all these chemicals. They're trying to find something that's combustible, and they haven't been able to do it because most of these chemicals are inert. They're not really doing much. And yeah, if they don't pick up somebody, I don't understand why anybody would be optimistic about a magic turn, because what they were going to be pointing at was Jose and Angel coming back, Angel Martinez. Angel hasn't got a hit yet, by the way, since he's come back, and Jose's hitting about 220. So like these guys aren't really, it wasn't the bolster to this team what we thought it was going to be. So yeah, if they don't improve this offense, I don't see how anybody would be optimistic about anything going forward this year.
Well, and they've tried everything with the prospects too, Rob. We talk about it, guys, AA, Rob. We talk about, hey, the prospects. We got to believe in these prospects. Well, they've already sent, 2-3 prospects down because it hasn't worked out. Cooper Ingle, Khalil Watson, they've sent these guys down because they weren't ready. So we've already squeezed the life out of that lemon. Like, that is as much as we can do as far as prospects. And I'll be damned if I sit here for another 2 months. Obviously, we're going to talk about it in the Inside Edge Network. I'll keep up with the Guardians. I'll follow them. I'll watch them in pain because that's how I watch them nowadays. But I'll sit here and deal with it. But here's the reality, and maybe it's a hot take to some out there. The Guardians are going to finish third in the AL Central. If they don't make a move, they're going to finish third in the AL Central. The White Sox are going to win the division. The Twins are going to finish second in the Central because I believe I checked yesterday. They were a game back of the Guardians for second place. And, I mean, they are within striking distance. A team that was playing very poor baseball early
They were
on.
tied yesterday. They're a game up today. The Guardians are a game up in second place.
Got it. Okay. That's what I'm saying, but it's so close. And the Twins are finding a little bit of momentum to the point where this might actually be a discussion of them being the AL Central winner. They might sneak up and win this division. I think it'll be the White Sox. But that's the thing. We talk all the time about the AL Central, how important it is to win it. And I know earlier on, I'm like, whatever. I want to be the best team in the AL. And at one time earlier on this season, eons ago it feels like, it was the Rays, the Yankees, and the Guardians. That was our discussion. Can they go make a move, be the biggest buyer? I'm out here on the Inside Edge Network, right here where you're listening, at home, hello. And I'm sitting here saying, the Guardians are going to be the biggest buyer. And they weren't the biggest buyer. They aren't the biggest buyer. And they made me look like an asshole. And I hate looking like an asshole. And now we're going to watch a team completely botch the AL Central, which is probably the most important this division's been in about 8 to 10 years. Because there's going to be one team that gets in the Central. The AL East is going to get 2 teams in, if not 3 with Boston. And if it's not them, the West is going to get 2 teams in. That's just the reality.
Swept LA.
That's what I'm saying. And I don't understand what else do we have to say? Hey, thank you for signing Edwin Encarnacion 10 years ago, Dolans. Can you do something? Because we're running a very strong risk of baseball being completely checked out in terms of support and popularity, not only here in Cleveland, but across the nation. And here's the thing. I know everybody's going to laugh when I say this. The Cavs are going to be the Cavs. People are going to be frustrated, but they're going to be tuned in because of that championship, because of, just there's notoriety still with that team. The Browns, however, I know they're a dumpster fire. If it's a big if they figure out the quarterback position, who I believe it'll be Shedeur Sanders, and we'll talk about, I know, later on. But if it is Shedeur Sanders, who is a marketable guy, and this defense comes together under Todd Monken, and they start winning, and then they go to the Dome, who's showing up to Progressive Field in September? Like, who is doing that if the Browns get it together and the Cavs are still recognizable and fun? Why would you go sit out at a baseball game other than you can get cheap tickets?
Well, the other problem is that if they get this fan base, turning apathetic here and just kind of rolling their eyes at the whole operation, they got a lockout coming up. So if this fan base turns off on this team even a few months earlier than the rest of the league turns off, that's not good. That, I don't know how well that'll help out the long-term future of the team. And if anything, that would be a reason. Again, I'm not a billionaire. I don't have, I don't make these kind of decisions. But if I'm David Blitzer and I want to buy this team and I'm going to be the owner of this team for a new generation here, I got to sit here and look at that and go, what the fuck am I buying? If that's the case, let's put some money into this now so I have a chance. So I'm not already 2 strikes into the at bat by the time I'm the owner of this thing in 2 years and 3, however long it's going to be. Like, if you turn off this fan base, like, I don't know how many more times do you have to get pissed off with this team before you just walk away for good? I mean, a lot of people have already done that with the Browns. Deshaun, 4 years ago was a breaking point. I've seen that happen, on our radio station when we get calls about, the Browns on WTAM. there were people that made that decision 4 years ago when he was signed and when he was acquired here that, all right, we're just done. And they meant it. And they're not lacking anything in their lives right now by not being a Browns fan, not even being a football fan in some cases. Like that could happen with this baseball team pretty quick if it's just fait accompli that they're going to put the cheapest possible roster out there no matter what, even if they do win 85 games a year.
Right. Right.
Let me jump in.
Yeah.
Welcome, Double A. I forgot you were here.
Yeah. Were you doing some like tidying up in the house or? Go ahead.
What's the point of all this? If the Dodgers gets to trade for whoever the hell they want, the best we can do is not good enough to beat that team in the playoffs. The best that anybody can do is not good enough to beat a team that has broken the sport.
Are you referring to the Dodgers acquiring former Tigers ace Tarik Skubal?
This guy.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Oh my goodness.
That's the first time I've seen him smile in a while.
And then there's the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's a Zaire Hope, River Ryan, and Brady Smith?
Yeah.
From what I understand, they're pretty good prospects, but none of them are major league ready.
No. I mean, they were saying like projection is 2029.
So you're telling me that, hey, let's go through all this. Let's do what we can to try to win a championship and do our best. And that crapshoot of a team can just spend money on players. I have it on the side computer. They got guys they're going to pay out until 2046.
Yeah.
And
even Bobby Bonilla is jealous about that.
And we're supposed to sit here. There's another graphic I pulled while you guys were discussing what the Guardians should be doing. What's the point? What's the point? If you got a system now where none of us can compete with the team with the biggest payroll, the team with the best prospects, the team that can just buy whatever they want. You got other teams like Detroit just giving up guys for Los Angeles. What's the point of any of this if we can't build a good enough team to create a team phenomenon?
Well, like with the Dodgers, the numbers on them are amazing, and we talked a lot about them, in the pre-show, and just the sheer payroll numbers and the fact that they can field a 5-man rotation right now that I think has 2 guys that have won multiple Cy Youngs, a guy with 4 MVPs, and 2 other All-Stars. That's what their starting rotation is right now. And they could go 6 deep, I think, with another all-star. Yeah. So that's where they're at. And, like you look at the top of their lineup, I think the way it was constructed anyway in the World Series last year with that, Freeman, Betts, and Ohtani combo at the top, you had your 3 top hitters that I think had a combined, 7 or 8 MVPs between them. Like, this is what, the Dodgers have become. They are the new Yankees. They are the new big bad, deal. But if I'll play devil's advocate for a second, if I'm the Tigers, and you are getting this deal coming back where you got 3 primo prospects coming at you for a rental, for a dude who is ultimately committed to LA for 2 months, 2.5 months. This is not a multi-year thing. If you got that coming at you, you're going to take it. And I understand that, Detroit's kind of being seen right now as an accessory to the murder of modern baseball, but you're going to take it because that's the best option. Like, you have kind of a fiduciary obligation to your team to get them as much as you can for what you can get, but.
And that's I really don't care about the Tigers. That's fine. They do what they need to do, whatever. The whole point, I'm like, this is the whole point of sport. And I'm not saying everybody should be on an equal playing field. I'm not saying that, the team A should have, the same unlimited resources as team Z. I'm not saying all that. Mm-hmm. But it's like, damn, at least pretend like there's some level of competition, some equal competition. And they got in Los Angeles, they got unlimited television money. They got, you know what? Let them win the World Series. Let them sweep whoever they're going to sweep in the World Series. Let Jeff Passan come on the air and say, oh, this was great for baseball. This is great for baseball. They can suck on these nuts talking about this is good for baseball and be locked out next season.
Now, yes, I knew you can get on, the folks, Steve Cohen is doing it with the Mets right now. It's not working, but, just outspending everybody. You can get on those guys for sure. And normally I will go to bat for our baseball team here in town and the ownership group most of the time. But and I'll put it the way that Andrew Friedman was talking about the Dodgers. He's the guy who runs the Dodgers. He used to run Tampa Bay. They asked him and said, what about the Dodgers killing baseball, so on and so forth. And he goes, should I apologize for the ownership group not putting the profits in their pocket and reinvesting it in the team? Should I apologize for the fact that they want to win games? Should I apologize for the fact that they will cut the check? Because for every LA, you have a Pittsburgh, a Cleveland, a Tampa Bay, Kansas City, Minnesota. We all know the teams that don't spend, that go out of their way. I mean, Moon just went off on this team for not spending. He didn't go off on the Dodgers for spending. He went on the Guardians for being cheap. So yes, for as much as we need to crack on the Dodgers for the unlimited resources they have, and yes, if every team was spending every nickel they got, the Dodgers still have everybody beat. I understand that. But we also got to get mad at the smaller teams for not ponying up, for not being, for not saying, I'll disagree with anybody who says the Dolans don't want to win. The Dolans do want to win, but some other teams might want to win more.
Well, I guess, but to add on to that point, Rob, Double A, I hear your frustrations. I'm right there with you. But it's like, to Rob's point, the teams like the Guardians, the Pirates, these other teams have. And even like other teams that you don't think of as much. Mookie Betts was a Boston Red Sox. That's typically a team you would expect to re-sign one of your star players.
Until they got bought up by private equity.
Correct. And they were cheap with Mookie. That's why Mookie's in LA and winning championships. Other teams, there was a long laundry list, and I can't remember from where, but it was on social media, on Twitter, about how these guys got here, how this entire team became what it was. And it's because of the cheap-ass owners that aren't paying their guys. So, Double A, I understand your frustration, because now we are staring at a monster in the Dodgers, but it's because, guys, these teams have decided to not spend money, so now we're at a point where the Dodgers look like the bad guy, and yes, we can be frustrated because this is bad for baseball, but ultimately, it's leading to where we're going to have to lock out. We're going to have a discussion on the new CBA because there has to be a salary cap. Because why? And floor, exactly. But we're going to have that because of cheap teams. Cheap teams made it easy for teams with money to go bonkers and buy them all out since, hey, we have the money. So now we need to find a middle ground. You know what? You can't spend this much, Dodgers. You have to keep it here. But Guardians, Pirates, Rays, all these, and Rays are a weird example right now because they're in first.
Well, so are we. So are we, because we win more than we lose. Like, we've managed to make the model work so we can at least defend it.
Yeah, I get it, but what I'm saying, I guess what I'm saying,
look at the Pirates; they've just sucked for 20 years.
True. But what I'm saying is these cheap ass owners who've decided we'll move on. They're a big part of the blame. So, and I understand where you're at, though, Double A. I understand.
All the problem. They're all the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Cleveland Guardians are just as much of a problem as the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Correct.
Well, you can make a case too that they're probably a bigger. The group is a bigger. Like, it physically is a bigger problem. Because I don't have the numbers in front of me right now with the cap and with the proposed cap and the proposed floor, but the number that I saw for the cap, I think there was only about 5 or 6 teams that were currently over that. I think it was like 285,
right?
270, something like that. There were only about 4 or 5 teams that were over that. The proposed floor, on the other hand, I think it was like $160, 170. Mm-hmm. There were about 10 teams that were underneath the floor. So, clearly what the union's saying is that you guys need to get that bottom third of the league up spending so we can, actually have, some decent jobs here. Well, decent in the relative term. But yeah, like, that's the issue. And like, yeah, you can get mad at the Dodgers all day. And I think you have a right to. I mean, it's a scary thing for baseball, but yeah, they're not the only. If baseball is getting murdered right now, this is a conspiracy. It's not one person acting alone.
And with the lockout, who's going to be the first teams to break and say, you know what, let's play it out. It's going to be the small market teams. They're going to be the first ones that's going to be like, hey, let's figure it out. Let's get a deal done. If they miss games, the Dodgers can miss a whole season and still, I'm not going to say make money, make a profit, but they won't sink.
And the thing is, though, and what I want to, the question I'll ask you is, how do you know? How do you know how do you know what teams? And this is why I'm asking the question. And this is something that I'm going to be harping on throughout this entire labor process. I know to the nickel how much Shohei Ohtani is getting compensated by the Dodgers. I know to the nickel how much Daniel Schneemann is getting paid by the Guardians, and everybody in between. I don't know one iota officially about how much money these teams make, how much money they lose. The Dolans say that that sometimes it's tough to make money. I don't know that. They don't have to open their books up for anybody. They don't have to show anybody what's going on. Meanwhile, the players, on the other hand, we know every bit of their accounting.
That's a great
point. When it comes down to that, when we move forward throughout this, and it will never happen, but I'm going to keep harping on it. Like, until I see the books from the owners, until I see the numbers from the owners, then I'm not going to really believe anything they really have to say. That's why one of my favorite teams, when we start talking about economics of sports, is the Green Bay Packers, because they're a publicly traded team and they have to release all of their numbers. So we know how much like the NFL revenue share is. We know how much they get from all this other stuff. So like, at least we have one baseline with that, with one team in the league. We don't have any of that with baseball, basketball, any of these sports.
And to add on to that, it's like, we all are in business. We understand how things work. You do good business and you have a good business by investing into your business. So any team that, the Dolans, whoever wants to go, it's tough to make a profit sometimes. You know how you make a profit? You put yourself in better position to win a World Series so that you have more buzz about your team. And what's going to happen is not only your ticket sales going to go because you have more baseball and marketed baseball as a World Series, you're going to have more jersey sales, more merch sales, more everything. So I just don't hear it from this. Like, yes, the Dodgers are a problem. They're a problem, though, because other teams were cheap and didn't want to keep on to their star players. So the Dodgers said, thank you.
And
to your Dodger point, though, I saw an article in Forbes show they spent $700 million, or they will spend between when the contract is done. Right. They had $700 million on Shohei Ohtani. They made that back in 1 year.
Incredible.
So like, I'm looking at guys like the Pirates or the Dolans or whoever saying, why didn't you think of doing something like that? Yes, it would cost you a shit ton of money up at the front end of it, but you're going to get it back in spades. Shohei Ohtani at $700 million right now is somehow the bargain basement contract in baseball. You are getting more value for every dollar you're spending on that than anybody. So yes, it was $700 million. And that's a lot of money. I understand that. That's a big commitment, but the money you're getting back. Come on, dude. You got to spend money to make money.
Because, and here's why, and this might piggyback to Eli's question, but also add to your point, Rob. Older fans who have been around, and I to not make a postseason appearance for 40 years is very tough, and, it's tough. But older fans do not hold the Guardians accountable. They don't. It's the simple, hey, stick around, be there, and maybe in September we'll be in contention for the AL Central, and you should be happy about winning the AL Central, even though we're winning games 2-1 for the last 20 years. It takes some years out. But be happy about that. Older fans do not hold the Guardians accountable because we should just be happy to be around in the playoffs.
Well, and what the change too is, and this is just kind of an ancillary point, that 30, 40 year, that 40-year playoff drought they had, that was the divisional era. Most of it was, and even before that was actually no divisions at all. Like if you lined up everything, right, and do it the last few years, if it was 2 divisions and it was set up the way it was, do you guys remember what it was back in the, I know this is almost a little bit before your time, Anthony, and way before your time, Moon, before they went to 3 divisions. The old AL East was the Yankees, was the Red Sox, was the Tigers, was the then Indians. So like we're talking about, these team, this team being probably a 3rd or 4th place team most of these years if we were back on that old model. So, and then screw the whole pre-64 in the when it was just the league champion against the league champion. How many, maybe 1 playoff appearance in the last 10 years for us on that one. So yeah, I mean, that kind of dilutes everything. And yeah, I mean, like I'll be the first one to admit though, I like the fact that this team has a pretty damn good chance every year of not being the worst team in the league, of not being embarrassing. We play good baseball here. We win more than we lose. Look at the last 10, 12 years. Like, I'm happy about that as somebody who covers the team, as somebody who watches the team. I'd rather watch good product most days than not. But yeah, at the end of the day, we got to look at it after 10 years of doing it this way, after 15 years of this model, and be like, bro, we have a ceiling. We're not going to break through it. Correct. Unless we make some change. Maybe not wholesale changes, but maybe we need to figure out the right 2 or 3 times to break a rule.
Well, go ahead, Double A.
Eli, you first, because then I got a point about Jose Ramirez. You go first.
Yeah, I really got one, unless we open up a can of worms here again. I got one strong final point. Rob, at that point, I'll flip it to hockey for a moment. The Washington Capitals were consistently winning the President's Cup, I believe it was, where you win the most games in hockey, and they were consistently whooping ass until it got to the playoff time, and then they would get beat by the Penguins or whoever. They would constantly lose, and that was a big story of Alex Ovechkin's career, was they couldn't get it done. They were always successful, always around, never really bad, but they didn't get it done until they finally broke through, about almost 10 years ago, and they got it done for Ovechkin. They got one, and they were able to kind of breathe for a moment, but that Jose Ramirez and the Guardians are like the Washington Capitals. So I guess it's like, would you ask a Washington Capitals fan, are you having fun being the best team in the regular season just to go triumph to your ass whooping in the postseason?
I got one hockey example that's actually almost a little better than that one. The Florida Panthers. Mm-hmm. About 4 or 5 years ago, they were the President's Cup champions. They were, the highest scoring offense in the league. They were kicking ass and taking names. Mm-hmm. And they got booted in the first round of the playoffs because it was a different game in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Now, what Florida could have done was run it back. What Florida could have done was tweak it a little bit and see if we can make this thing work. But what Florida ended up doing was firing their coach, trading their best player for Matthew Tkachuk, completely redoing the team up on the fly. And they went from the President's Cup champions to the next year being an 8 seed. But that 8 seed went all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, and they lost it. Right. And then they won back-to-back. Right. And it takes balls the size of fucking coconuts to look at a team that wins 70% of their games in any sport, that has dominance, that has something that is working, and say, like, okay, this is working, but it's not working enough. We have to take it back, maybe not to the studs, but we got to take it back and rethink this a little bit. It's tough to abandon a project that is working by and large. And the Guardians are working by and large. We're pissing and moaning about this team, and they're still 2 games over 500. So, there's still a wild card team right now. I mean, things could be a lot worse, but again, we want to see that next level. And I think the offense is the one thing that's holding this back. And to take us back to the trade deadline crap, we need bats. Serrano need bats. Keep bats warm. That's what we need right now. I don't care. Live chicken, bucket of chicken, something here needs to change for the Guardians. And they're going to lose a lot of fans if they don't get some sticks. I think they're going to lose a lot of interest, at least for the rest of this season. They need the sticks.
Mm-hmm. I was going to make a point about Jose Ramirez. I'll save it during the week.
No, what's your Jose deal? I'm curious here.
Okay, so you look at his deal and you look at him accepting the player friendly or like the team friendly. It wasn't player friendly; it was team friendly.
Mm-hmm.
You look at that, and I know you guys have continuously made a point. Man, are we doing enough for Jose Ramirez? Are we doing enough for Jose Ramirez? The one thing I don't want this to result in is any player across baseball or any sport, but particularly baseball, to look at their team and say, no, I'm never signing a team-friendly deal. Because
players will remember that, though. The guys will cite this as an example, I'm sure. And I'm sure that there's other examples that they already do cite.
And that's my point. They're looking at Jose Ramirez because players talk. We know this.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Players talk. And they're looking at Jose Ramirez. They're like, bro, what is your team doing? I'm sure Skubal's had that conversation. You're like, what is your team doing? And if they're not taking care of you, then why should any of our teammates stay here at this organization instead of going somewhere else that pay? Like that's why it's tough. Like we've been talking like the last month or so about LeBron and other players. And it's like, man, you should represent the team, represent the fans. On the other end, we got Jose Ramirez, who is representing the fans.
He's doing everything right.
Doing everything right, and he's getting screwed. And he's the nicest guy, and he's getting screwed.
Right.
And what are we doing?
And that's one thing I've liked with the former player interviews now happening on all these podcasts. All the Smoke, actually, is a hell of a podcast with Matt Barnes. They were talking to Cecil Fielder, the other day about it.
Yeah.
A lot of these players, I didn't realize how many of them were just of the opinion that, ownership's going to say anything they can to you, do anything they can to you to fuck you over. They're going to do everything they can to make sure they're paying out the least amount of money possible. If it is messing with your minutes, if it's messing with your at-bats, if it's messing, just with anything with you in general. They don't care if they hurt the team. They don't want to pay you money. And I'm shocked with how many players across how many sports just assume that's going to be the case. And this Jose Ramirez contract kind of reinforces it.
I'm gonna pin this question for us here at the network, and Rob, even for you at TAM. If you had to go back and advise Jose Ramirez on those contract talks, would you have convinced him to stay here? Now knowing what has happened.
I don't know if I could convince him, but I'd want to, even with all being, and this is me being selfish. I'm like, dude, if Jose hasn't been on this team for the last 5 years, it's been a real long decade. So, I don't know at this rate, like if you'd probably have to lie, but that's something that, I think the broader question is, does Jose on some level regret this decision? But right now, like if you want to get down to it, one of the reasons why this team is having problems is because Jose isn't playing well.
Yeah, that's fair.
But in fairness,
at least this year you can say that.
But in fairness, and this is my final point. I know we got to go to break here in a moment. But my final point, Rozycki and AA, is yes, Jose's having a down year, but he's had such a strong decade of great years that it's time the Guardians build around him. He has carried this team in this city on his back when it comes to this baseball team, the Guardians. He has carried them on his back. It's about time they put people around him that can help him when he's having a slump. I mean, you can only go, you only can get so much out of a guy, and he is getting, he's not old, but in baseball terms, he's getting towards the bookend of his career, by the last 5 to 7 years.
Tail end of his prime.
Exactly. And it's like, you should look out for your star so he's not having to do all that. And instead, the Guardians are like, come on, Jose, we need another 300 season out of you. Come on, Jose, come on. Like, come on, dude. Come on.
The adequate comparison right now is him and Mike Trout.
Yes.
Because, he's kind of being wasted away in Anaheim right now. And I think, and Trout's physically a lot more broke down than Jose, and he's also a little older.
Right.
But, they're at, the Angels are at a stage right now that if Mike Trout ever wins a championship in an Angels uniform, it's going to be late stage Mike Trout. It's going to be full-time DH Mike Trout. It's going to be, remember when his knees were intact, how much he could do Mike Trout. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where it is at, almost with Jose, where yeah, dude, if you wait too much longer, you're going to be having Jose Ramirez at first base because you know what? Maybe that arm isn't what it used to be, back in the day anymore. And, he's going to be 35, 36 years old, and he's going to be, not hitting 2 or 3 anymore. He's going to be your Eddie Murray kind of guy on the team. So, yeah, they're almost, at a point with that. So sooner than later, yeah, Jose's not going to be here anymore, and we're going to really regret it. But we're going to be here, though, for a while. I'm sure we got a little bit more time left. Double A's apartment complex is what? We got to be done at 1 o'clock, right? That's when your landlord's basically saying shit or get off the pot.
We have new ownership here at the studio. So
Oh, the studio. I like that. All right. So 1 o'clock is our drop dead time?
Sure. Yes.
Or is it 1:30? I don't even fucking know.
The latest is 1:30.
Okay. All right. Well, either way, we're going to take a quick break.
30 seconds.
Either way, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back and get off this baseball talk and talk about the team that cannot disappoint you, because when there's no expectations, can you really disappoint anybody? And that is your Cleveland Browns. We're going to get back into Shador v. Watson. And Double A did some data collection here with the network and got some opinions on the quarterbacks league-wide. And we're going to see where all that kind of stacks up here. This is the main event on the Inside Edge Net. I am Rob Rozycki. We got Eli Moon. We got Double A Anthony Alford. And we'll be back.
Key On Sports is the leader in Ohio high school athletic coverage in written, print, and video streaming. From the latest news and results and written content to the high school football game of the week every Friday, Key On Sports has you covered. The vision of 15-time published author Vince McKee has become the most trusted site in Ohio high school athletic news. From podcasts to player profiles, Key On Sports is your one stop for all of it. Visit them today at keyonsports.com or on YouTube at Key On Sports. Check out their socials on Twitter and Facebook as well.
Clean energy, bold flavors, and no jitters. See why people won't shut up about Dubby. Clean energy, no jitters or crash. Whether you're starting your workday or getting ready to exercise, Dubby Energy helps you lock in and focus. With over 15 flavors to choose from, you can't miss. Order Dubby Energy right now by using the QR code on your screen and use the promo code InsideEdge10 to receive 10% off your order. Dubby Energy, your energy-focused sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Discover our collection of body mists made with clean, minimal ingredients. Handcrafted with natural essential oils and clean ingredients, they offer a natural alternative to synthetic fragrances. Perfect for sensitive skin and those seeking clean, mindful self-care, and the perfect gift for you or your special someone. Courtesy of Alley Rose Fragrances. First-time customers, use that promo code InsideEdge20 to receive 20% off your order. AlleyRoseFragrances.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Whether searching for a baseball autographed by your favorite World Series slugger, a signed football by an iconic Hall of Famer, or the jersey of a world-famous soccer star, you've come to the right place. Here at SportsMemorabilia.com, the web's leading source of authentic sports memorabilia, you'll find more than 500,000 authentic products from nearly every professional sports league, team, and players. Not only will you find your next prized sports possession with ease thanks to superb customer service and tremendous site experience, you'll have the satisfaction and peace of mind that every product listed comes complete with a certificate of authenticity and is fully backed by the SportsMemorabilia.com lifetime authenticity guarantee. Go to SportsMemorabilia.com by using the QR code on your screen right now. SportsMemorabilia.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Podcast Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Find us on InsideEdgeNetwork.com for the latest information on your favorite shows, personalities, and network partners. Plus, guess what? We have a merch shop. That's right, we have network polos, t-shirts, champion jackets, hats, and bottles. Rep the network. Every purchase supports independent sports and entertainment media. Use the QR code on your screen right now to check out InsideEdgeNetwork.com. That's InsideEdgeNetwork.com. Fanatics isn't just our name, it's who we are. Loyal, passionate fans dedicated to our favorite teams and to the sports we love. That's why we're honored to be able to offer fans the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and sports jerseys from all leagues, teams, and players you love. We feature a wide selection of gear from every league, including the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, and NCAA merchandise, which allows us to serve fans of football, baseball, hockey, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, golf, and, well, everything else that gets your heart pumping. Go to fanatics.com by using the QR code on your screen right now to celebrate your teams. That's fanatics.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader.
Small business owners are superheroes, but nowadays running your business means doing so inside your shop and on social media. That's why you should make Omega Video Marketing your sidekick.
With a decade of content creation experience, I create dynamic, informative, and fun videos for your specific social needs that will increase brand awareness, get you more followers, and keep your social pages and websites current and fresh.
I offer flexible pricing and turn times and will work with you to understand your brand and your story. All of that comes from the heart. My award-winning expertise is just the cherry on top. So let's get connected. After all, your brand is the alpha and my expertise is the omega.
Discover our collection of handcrafted candles. That's right, every product is thoughtfully created in small batches free from harmful toxins for mindful everyday indulgence. Our candles are hand-poured in coconut soy wax with natural wood wicks, offering a long-lasting burn and rich fragrances. Create a cozy, safe ambiance for your home with candles from Alley Rose Fragrances. First-time customers use the promo code InsideEdge20 to receive 20% off your order. AlleyRoseFragrances.com, proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Podcast Network. Mosser Moments Photography is a husband and wife wedding photography team based in Cleveland, owned and operated by Inside Edge Network's very own Ryan Mosser and his wife Hallie. For the past 10 years, they've captured more than 100 weddings across Northeast Ohio and beyond, always working together as a true two-person team. Their style centers on authentic, emotional storytelling, documenting the real moments between two people in love and creating images that feel natural, comfortable, and true to the couple. Rooted in Northern Ohio but inspired by their travels, Ryan and Hallie bring a warm, personal approach to every wedding day. Their work blends experience, consistency, and a genuine passion for helping couples relive their best day through timeless photography. Learn more at MosserMomentsPhotography.com by using the QR code on your screen right now. MosserMomentsPhotography.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader.
Welcome back to the main event here on the Inside Edge Net. I am Rob Rozycki. We got AA Anthony Alford, Eli Moon, and I am watching not 3-on-3 soccer right now here on the Ocho. I am watching three teams play against each other. There's three scores in the scorebug. It's the Rebels versus the Totem versus the Lobos. So rock on.
Well, I hope all teams have fun.
What's up?
I said I just hope all teams have fun.
I think they are. I don't know. I mean, I really don't understand what's going on. But that's the lengths I'm going to actually right now to not consume any sort of analysis or any sort of, we'll just say breakdown of the Browns in general at this point, but especially the quarterback situation. You guys, though, seem to be a little bit more keyed in on all this kind of crap. We got Deshaun Watson, the embattled veteran who has been to hell and back and mostly of his own doing, but not the injuries. But he is the old grizzled veteran trying to hold on for yet another season. Well, he's going to get paid either way. Facing Shedeur Sanders, the young upstart second-year player, son of Dion. What is going on with this thing? The only thing I'm seeing right now on Twitter is that outlets are putting up the numbers that these guys are having in training camp. But really, how is this shaping up right now? Who's going to be the quarterback of this fucking team?
I mean, at this point, it's going to be, you. I
mean, I know what the league minimum is. I'll take it. I mean, I'll take the Flacco deal. That's fine.
Well, you know what? The Browns love taking chances on guys that haven't been relevant in a couple of years and giving them guaranteed money. So I think you could probably work your way into at least a couple mil guaranteed. So, you know,
I'm a year younger than Phillip Rivers.
That's all I'm saying. You know, that's all I'm saying. I don't know, man. I'm tired of it. That's my theme with Cleveland sports. I love being the city. I love the sports teams. But goodness gracious, man, we had like 2 or 3 years where we didn't have to worry about the quarterback position, and then now here we are worrying about it again. And I'm just tired of the Deshaun stuff. I know it's going to be a discussion. Obviously, he's not going away, at least right this instant. But the more he continues to look like garbage in training camp, this makes the decision a little bit clearer. We talked about it last week on Midnight Run and on Primetime about, when do the Browns decide who the quarterback is? Eventually, Todd Monken's been open with reporters saying, well, I don't decide the quarterback and who the starter is. They decide what their play. So what exactly does that mean? Like, is that in training camp? Like, what is the preseason, reps going to look like in these games? Who is going to be the starter? Because I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you're the Browns and you go into week 3 of the preseason and you play that game and you're still like, we don't know who our starter is. And you go in and figure it out right before week 1. I think they need to kind of get to the bottom of this soon. And I think it's pretty apparent that they just need to move forward as an organization.
Well, NAA, I'll let you go in a second here, but I think it's imperative, too, for Monken to make a clear, decisive decision on this. This is going to be really the first big decision he's going to have to make as head coach. Mm-hmm. And if he's wishy-washy on it, if he plays the whole Kevin Stefanski of, well, we're going to save that till opening week and let, the team game plan around which quarterback, again, both under 70 in Madden is going to be. Like, if he's got to make a clear-cut decision on this to kind of, just really start the tone really with this whole team, at least with the fan base and the media alike, just the perception on this team. If he dicks around with this, if he just kind of waits until he has to make a decision, I think that's going to go a long way with the way he's perceived around the league.
Well, I do like that there's a plan, at least. Like, it seems like, every other day, either Deshaun is with the ones or Shedeur is with the ones. So you're not flip-flopping, like during practice. Like, this is the game.
And we've also moved pretty good in the right direction that there's not 4 viable starters on the roster at the same time right now compared to last year. Like,
exactly. Don't lie. It's like, don't lie to the audience. Like,
no Kenny Pickett.
Exactly. So there is a plan. I have mentioned that I do believe. First off, again, pads come on tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So this week is going to be very telling. My major concern, well, I'll give a positive. The first team defense looks really good. I'll give them that. First team defense looks really good. No, I think the speed of the game, I've talked about it, the speed of the game with Deshaun Watson, I think it's going to be his downfall. Simply because, again, you're talking about not being able to play consistently for the last 6 years of high-level football week to week.
Is it the speed of the game, or is it the shoulder injury and the surgery that he was dealing with last year? Because, again, we forget he's beat up.
Yeah.
He is beat the fuck up.
It's all of it. You're exactly right. I think it's all of it. But ultimately, you're going to see, okay, you can be a smart football player and know what you want to do with the football. But if your body is not reacting to it as quick as it needs to be, you're going to get picked off multiple times. Mm-hmm. I think that will be Deshaun Watson's downfall. Now, I've mentioned this to Eli. I'll run this by you and our main event audience. I think this has to be a situation where Jimmy Haslam has to see how bad Deshaun Watson really is. Because in practice, even before camp, he's sharp. The speed is down. Deshaun knows what he wants to do with the football. The execution ain't there. So I think, honestly, let Deshaun start that first preseason game. Let him start and see how bad, how terrible he is and how much he cannot keep up with the speed of the game. Then you'll know by the time you get to the joint practices with the Buffalo Bills, okay, it's Shedeur Sanders. You're not bringing anybody else at the moment. So it's Shedeur Sanders, and you just roll from there. I think, Rob, that's what I would expect a decision to be made right around that second week of the preseason. I think that's where you see a decision.
And I hope that's the case. And again, I think that'll be kind of a perfect kind of time frame. When you talk about perception, he didn't drag his feet, but he also didn't just rip it right off, day one. So I think, that's kind of a pretty happy medium when it comes down to that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's just funny right now with the way that these teams are in town. Cavaliers, congratulations, you made the conference finals. You suck. Guardians, hey, you win more games than you lose. You're in the playoffs more than you're not. You've been, in the conference finals. You suck. Browns, just make it kind of look like football and we'll be happy. That's kind of like, just you want to talk about and I'm not saying any one of those expectations is wrong or any one of those evaluations is wrong, but it's just kind of funny how, the bar is so much different for the one team compared to the other two right now.
But I think it's different on the Browns standpoint for one thing. I think because the mere presence of Deshaun Watson just being there still, being around. And we had we talked to the media. Well, I would love to take another contract with the Cleveland Browns. Go figure it. If they pay me as much as they pay you, I would work there too. No problem. I would work there. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't negotiate with any other teams. I would just sit down with Jimmy Haslam.
Exactly. I think the problem though now is you have apathy. Mm-hmm. I think now you have people who simply are tuning out because if you have a significant other, you cannot prop up Deshaun Watson to your significant other. You just can't.
Well, and the other thing is too, like at the end of the day, and we wouldn't like it, I'm sure I'd be squawking about it on shows like this. At the end of the day, if he was winning games, if he was going to Pro Bowls, if he was making all pro teams, then you could at least, we've seen fans ignore less if the team is winning. And you can't even lean on the fact that you have the on-field success. You can't even lean on the fact that, we're the bad boys, but everyone's trying to beat us. We're not, we're running the league. There's none of that. So, you can't sell this to, you got daughters, you got wives, you got, sisters, aunts, whatever here. There's nothing you can do right now to make yourself look any sort of intellectual being a Browns fan.
And Eli, didn't we have this conversation this week? We were talking about, what if, play devil's advocate, what if Deshaun actually plays well? Then we can kind of explore the future. It's like, we can't even have that discussion because it's so far out of the realm of possibility. It's like, Eli, we can't even have that talk.
Yeah, and honestly, guys, I'm tired of the discussion of the guaranteed money and how much money they've invested in Deshaun Watson. The money is less than what it was invested 4, 5, 6 years ago. And we've seen teams eat historic amounts of money, even this past offseason that we're currently in still. And now I know we're getting back into the preseason, season's back. But Tua Tagovailoa, the Dolphins ate $99 million in dead cap to get him off of their roster. Russell Wilson, I know it wasn't the same amount of money as Deshaun Watson. He went over to Denver, gets his deal, and the Broncos said, absolutely not. We move on from you because we can't keep rocking. It's not working. So why do the Browns feel this? We have to figure it out with Deshaun.
I have the reason. I have the reason. You talk with Tua and you talk with Wilson. Those are the two big examples of money that has been eaten up. Mm-hmm. The Browns or the Broncos had a leadership change. Different guys signed Russell Wilson to the contract, then cut Russell Wilson. Tua, the same situation. The guy, Ryan Poles or whoever the GM was there is not there now. He was not the guy who cut Tua. Mm-hmm. The Browns, Andrew Berry signed Watson. There's no we got a new coach. But, he would have to admit that he was wrong. It's a lot easier to admit somebody else was wrong and just go about your merry way and do your thing than admit you were wrong. And you signed this contract and you saddled this up and you made this trade. That's the other big. And again, Tua was a draft pick. Russell Wilson was there was a trade. Yeah, Noah Fant, I believe. But
yes.
So at least. But it wasn't the 3 first-round picks. It wasn't the massive package in draft capital that the Browns gave over. So they would be admitting the contract was wrong. They'd be admitting the trade was wrong. Now, the funny thing is we all know that the contract and the trade was wrong. They just don't want to admit it. And, again, if this was somebody else, if this was Andrew Berry's successor, I think Deshaun Watson would have been gone. Like if Andrew Berry was fired this offseason, I think Deshaun Watson would have been gone too. Yeah, but they don't want to admit they're wrong.
Yeah, but you also run the risk, and we talk about it with the Cavaliers, just talking about the Cleveland teams here. I mentioned it earlier this postseason with the Cavaliers. Kobe Altman has decided to attach his name to James Harden. And of course, James Harden's a free agent right now. We'll see what happens. But he moved off of Darius Garland, a move that, of course, I don't think many of us here on this show or across the network really disagree with it. Darius Garland, a glass house. We got what we could out of him, and probably should have been moved on a year prior. But they did move off of one of the core 4 pieces, brought in James Harden. Now he's out there. We don't even know if he's a Cavalier. I mean, the expectation's there, but I have different thoughts. But you have that, and you've attached your name to James Harden. I mentioned that earlier during one of the postseason shows for the Cavs. Kobe Altman has attached his name to James Harden. He will sink with the ship of James Harden and this core 4. Well, Andrew Barry's doing the same thing with Deshaun Watson. He has an ample opportunity to just move on after, like Double A said, give him the week 1 preseason and then move on. Even if that is eating the dead cap, or say, guess what, you're just going to sit on the bench. You can wear a Browns hat, but you are not ever going to play a single season game, a regular season game. But if not, and if they want to do this song and dance another time, Andrew Barry could have this draft class could look just as immaculate, if not better, of last year's. Like, it could be even better. And if Deshaun Watson's still on this roster and they're still trying to do it, I'm telling you, Andrew Barry will be gone. Will be gone. He is playing with fire. And it's like, how many times can you play with fire until you get burned so many times that you're done?
I disagree with that. I think he could be the scapegoat, but it's an Andrew Barry, Jimmy Haslam. Like, they're a package deal. And when they got rid of Stefanski, that was an open admission of, okay, I don't know if Stefanski made the call for Deshaun. I'm sure, he's a professional. He would have along with it with the sales pitch and stuff. So at least he is partly responsible. But Andrew Barry, Jimmy Hassel, this is a package deal. They're locked in step with this. Neither of them want to admit failure. My theory on all this, and I've said it, time and time again, look back at the coaches that we interviewed, the Browns interviewed. How many of those coaches, young coaches, went away after the interview?
Right.
Because my theory, I believe there was questions about how are you going to coach Deshaun Watson?
Or at least letting him know that Deshaun's going to be a piece of this puzzle.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, Todd Monken partly got this. I don't question that Todd Monken is not a great football mind. He's a great football mind. I'm not saying it's a bad hire, but I think he was one of the few guys, because again, look at his age. He's 59 years old. Like, this is his only opportunity to be an NFL head coach. So yeah, he went along with all right, I'm going to be a head.
He's willing to use He's willing to use the ingredients in the recipe right now. That's what it was.
Exactly.
But
Meanwhile, if Eli was going for a head coaching job in the NFL and he's 29 years old,
and he knows that he has 17 more head coaching hiring cycles ahead of him,
he can walk away.
I get that, but the one thing I'll disagree with you on here, Double A, is that Andrew Barry, Jimmy Haslam, and the relationship they have, that he basically can do no wrong. Let's not forget, I know it's a coach. Let's not forget how head over heels Jimmy Haslam was for Hugh Jackson. Remember when Hugh Jackson first came in here? Oh, Hugh Jackson, that's our guy. We love Hugh Jackson. He's going to change this organization. And they were able to, of course, historic lost seasons. I get that. But this is off the field and the moves they've made. Historically as bad as the losses that Hugh Jackson has put together, a win-loss record. That's like the GM version of Hugh Jackson and some of these moves Andrew Barry has made. And let's not act like Jimmy Haslam has this loyalty. I understand he has been loyal to this point with Andrew Barry. That could change in a heartbeat. Jimmy Haslam does some shady shit, let's be real, as a businessman. Let's not act like if this thing blows up one more season that Andrew Barry isn't gone. I think he's playing with fire.
To be fair, Jimmy Haslam has been more loyal to football employees than in the past. Like Kevin Stefanski.
That's something he's learned, yeah.
Yeah, Kevin Stefanski was you had Harbaugh too, but he was one of the longest tenure head coaches in the NFL.
Right.
And Barry as well. Barry, I think,
and he was going through GMs pretty good at first too. Yeah.
Yeah. So he had Jimmy Haslam, to a fault, has shown loyalty and respect from that factor. That's why, again, I think it goes into you got to see it. Like, and let me be clear. Let me be perfect, because I had people text me like, "Oh, you hate Deshaun Watson." Let me be perfectly. I'm a Browns fan. I don't care who goes out there. If they win games, I'm going to root for them. I don't need to like them personally, but I'm going to root for them to help me win football games. Because quite honestly, I haven't seen enough of that in my lifetime. So, however, we can make the playoffs and have a run, I'm going to root for that. But it hasn't happened. And sometimes you just need to see it play out. And that's what makes it tough because, Rob, I get you. Like, I know you're locked in, you know, with what's going on with the Guardians because it is regular season baseball. Like, they're in season. They're actually, you know, I know they have faults and stuff, which we talked about earlier in the show, but they are in contention to be in the playoffs and doing their thing, same with the Cavaliers. And it's like with the football team, it's the same deal. You know, it makes it makes it really tough.
Where I'm at with Andrew Berry is that 4 years ago, he was presiding over the team after while they made the worst trade combined with the worst contract ever in the history of the National Football League. And again, it's been 4 or 5 years at this point. He's kept his job. I don't know what he would have to do to get fired. I really don't. I mean, does he have to slap Jimmy in front of the media? Because I think he might be able to get away with it behind closed doors.
I think he'll get
So yeah, that's kind of where
But
I
it's
don't
the
know.
roster, right? So I think that Jimmy Hassel said it. It's like the reason why it was just because every other draft pick that he made last year.
Yeah, I mean he kept his job on that weekend back a couple Aprils ago.
And the receivers that he drafted this year, both of them, they are looking good through week 1 of camp. Again, we'll see what the Pats come.
Yeah, Concepcion and Boston. Yeah, that looks. Yeah, and we'll obviously keep tabs throughout the week on training camp and all these position battles and what this offense and defense is going to look like post Miles too. So. Yes, this is the main event here on the Inside Edge Net. I'm Rob. We got Double A, Eli Moon. Just out of curiosity, Double A, on your when you were collecting all of your data for the quarterbacks here, I noticed you had 2 slots for both of Deshaun and Shador here, and that's how you could tell the team's really good when they have 2 options at starting quarterback. You know they're going to be really set for the year. How were those 2 rated out of the group of National Football? Where do they stack up compared to everybody else?
They're not good. Apparently, according to Madden, not good.
Yeah.
Well, you did you ranked quarterback tiers, right?
Yes. So real quick, the QB tiers, tiers 1 through 5. Basically, I'll go through these real quick. I sent this out to our team. We're going to send one little revision because I forgot one of the quarterbacks who I have in my fantasy football team. His name is Daniel Jones. So we'll get that out tomorrow. But
look, I just followed suit.
I don't think that's going to end the whole list, though. I don't think that's your deal breaker here.
Look, I was like, Double A's an Anthony Richardson guy. We'll vote for Anthony Richardson. Papa Moon was like, Anthony Richardson, isn't it? And listen, Papa Moon, we're not getting into this, all this. Like, Anthony Richardson's a guy. All right.
So real quick, full background. Mike Sando of The Athletic. Every year he does a survey. He surveys executives, coaches, GMs about the quarterbacks and how they think they rank compared with tiers. So we had a 5-tier list. We'll reveal the AFC North here in a second here on the show. But basically, we ranked them here how you feel going into the season. So tier 1, quarterback, elite. Your elite quarterbacks. The team wins because of the quarterback. Like, you could put in a tier 1 quarterback on a crappy football team, and they can become playoff contenders. Mm-hmm. Like, there you go, right? Tier 2 is just they're not elite, but they're really good guys who you could depend on. There are some flaws in their game. There are some stuff. They may have a couple bad games, but overall, you can depend on them to be your franchise quarterback. Tier 3, legitimate starter, but they need a running game. They need a little bit of help. They need a good defense.
Training wheels.
They need a little bit of training wheels, but you can depend on them.
Okay.
Tier 4, I guess Rozycki might be right. This is the cop-out tier. But the unproven player, not enough information for us to vote.
Not enough information.
Or a journeyman / veteran quarterback who you would not start all 17 games. But if you need a plug and play, you need a few games to put this quarterback in, cool. You're in good shape. But once you get film, and then tier 5, to put it nice. Yes.
To put it nicely.
Yes. Best suited to be a backup, but I like Rob's definition a little bit better. So tonight we'll reveal the AFC North rankings that we have here at the main event. And Eli, do you want to share that? There it is. Yeah. Right there. So hopefully AI spelled every name correctly.
We're doing pretty good. Hey, look, we're in pretty strong unison for the most part. Rozycki's a really tough grade, though. My goodness. I mean, just looking at some other things here. I mean, the first thing that stands out to me is obviously we're all in lockstep with Shedeur, and I'd imagine it's not because he's a veteran or a journeyman. It's because he's unproven. Like we've only seen a little bit of him, obviously. And then, of course, you have Deshaun. I mean, look, guys. I mean, come on. I mean, it's clear as day. The guy is throwing an intercept. He is ass. I think the thing that stands out to me as an AFC North, I know we're up against it here. I want to address Rob is super tough at grading. Is it because they haven't won a Super Bowl for Lamar and Joe? Because for Joe Burrow. I mean, because AA and I both. AA actually has Burrow as a 2. I'm confused for both you. I guess why I'm so lost.
And AA. What was your definition of a number 1 of a tier 1 quarterback?
Tier 1 elite quarterback, a guy who, if he's placed on any team, would be a playoff contender.
When was the last time Joe Burrow made the playoffs?
2 years ago?
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Yeah. So based on your definition, you can't put him on any team and have them go because he hasn't done it in 2-3 years. So that's why.
Okay. I mean, and you both have him as a 2.
That real quick, Eli, that was my reason too.
Gotcha.
And I'll also add, I don't trust that his body can hold up in these regular seasons. I get it. There are circumstances. The Bengals do not, for whatever reason, invest in the offensive line. Maybe that changed with the draft, but
in a new coach.
But they just, and the coach they haven't even had yet. But yeah, I think Joe Burrow, talent-wise, he's a 1 talent. But in terms of body holding up, in terms of can he sustain punishment, can he be that guy year in and year out? I could not give him a 1. I just couldn't.
See, I guess for me, it's like I factor in that he is the only guy to beat Patrick Mahomes in the AFC to get to the Super Bowl. And yes, the injuries, I understand the injuries, but the hope is, right, for Joe Burrow, this is going to be a year where he's going to be able to be a Bengal long term because they're going to figure it out, or he's going to be auditioning for his next team. And we've talked about that on the network. He's going to become the next Matthew Stafford, just a little bit younger, move over to another team and be a stud. I think Joe Burrow is clearly a number 1. He's, in my opinion, a top 2 or 3 quarterback in the league right now because of what he's done. And I think him and Lamar, you had to put him in the same discussion because, yes, Lamar hasn't had the injuries, even though recently he's been more injured. He had the year with the contract discussion. He sat out a good portion of the year, even a playoff game. But he hasn't got to where Joe Burrow has. He has the individual accomplishments. And let me be clear. If you saw there on the graphic, I have them both as 1s because I think they both completely change the landscape of your team when healthy. And I understand that's a big thing with health, but I'm leaning into the fact that I think the Bengals are – I don't think that they're going to – it's tricky. I don't know if the Bengals are going to be good per se, but Joe Burrow is going to have a hell of a year with that offense. I think that defense is always the reason why they're in a shitstorm because – the years, besides him being hurt, that they haven't made the playoffs is because that defense can't stop a nosebleed. It's not because you go look at those offensive stats. They're usually throwing the shit out of the football, and Joe Burrow's having good numbers, good runs, and if they could just lock down on defense, I think we'd be seeing a little bit more success out of Joe Burrow, and that's where I stand on it.
Well, but to the definition of, the number one quarterback, the tier one, any team. You can make any team a Super Bowl. And yeah, maybe I'm judging Lamar pretty harshly right now. I'm bringing up the fact that maybe he only went to one title game, has never been to the Super Bowl. He's basically the third quarterback in the AFC behind, Mahomes and Josh Allen. I mean, that's pretty much been a consensus. But with Burrow, you haven't even made the playoffs. And if you were a tier one quarterback, I understand, yes, the defense has to do their job. You need a defense. They need to be able to play football. But if you're the tier one, shouldn't you be able to overcome that? Shouldn't you be able to figure that one out? And yeah, you can get mad at the Bengals for roster construction and all that kind of stuff. And, he might go down as kind of more of a, you say Matt Stafford, he's in one of two trajectories right now. He's Matt Stafford or he's Andrew Luck.
Right.
He's either going to be the old timer that wins when he's in his twilight years, or he's going to retire at 32 because he's tired of getting his head kicked in.
I think I lean towards clearly the Andrew Luck category. I hope that's not the case because, again, he's very talented. I hope that's not the case. Lamar Jackson is where I have him as a one because I think I know there are some limitations that teams are starting to figure it out. I think his game is so dynamic. I think he is still one of the elite, rushers in the game. So you got to defend that. He could throw the deep ball. He can, you got to still account for him underneath. Like, I think Lamar Jackson is dynamic enough where, like, there is no other Lamar Jackson in the league.
But my final point, because I know we got to go to break here in a moment. My final point on this is the moment, though, Lamar Jackson, I love Lamar. It sucks he's a Raven. I mean, as a Browns fan. But the moment that their defense looked subpar in Baltimore, they didn't make the playoffs. So, I mean, we can use this argument with Joe Burrow and the health, but a big portion of it is the defense. When Lamar Jackson didn't have a good defense, he didn't make the playoffs. And you put Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen on the Cincinnati Bengals team over the last 5 years, they're having the same success of Joe Burrow, if not less. That's where I stand on it. Joe Burrow has been given the shit hand out of all these quarterbacks. Josh Allen's had a strong defense. Lamar Jackson's had a strong defense. They have Derrick Henry in Baltimore. In Buffalo, they brought in weapons around Josh Allen. That's Joe Burrow. Yes, he has Chase and Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, now Chase Brown in the backfield. They have no line and they've had no defense. I don't think any quarterback could really overcome that most years.
Let me go to Rob here because we only have him once a week. So let me go to Rob. I have a few questions for Rozycki's results overall. So Rob's tier one quarterbacks, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, Matty. Yeah.
Was there any other quarterback, Rob, that you considered to be in tier one and you decided against?
I mean, I sat and I had to watch some tape on Shador. That was the borderline. No, I guess, yeah, maybe a little bit of Joe Burrow and Lamar. Those are kind of the two guys on the outside looking in. Maybe, they're just not quite, I think they're in my, you look at the postseason success. I mean, that's really what it comes down to in both those cases. Now, Patrick Mahomes has made sure that not a lot of other AFC quarterbacks have done all that well. But, yeah, and on the NFC side, Matt Stafford, I guess, when I was kind of thinking of dudes like Sam Darnold or Jared Goff or Brock Purdy or, anything along that line, like, okay, yeah, that's tier two, maybe some tier threes in there. It's just like, I don't really see that there's a lot of, maybe my standards are high, but there's not a whole lot of game changing. These are the guy, these are going to be the Super Bowl winning quarterbacks.
And then Eli, question for you. Mm-hmm. You have Jalen Hurts as a tier one.
Yeah, I do because, yeah, I mean,
I think most Eagles fans would say that.
I think Jalen Hurts will show you the ring on his finger, and that'll be the first case I'll make their AA. He's already got to where some of these other guys were ranking in the tier one. He's got there. He's already been to the Super Bowl, and he's won games. Yes, the tush push obviously is a big discussion, but this is a guy that we talk about a dual threat. He can pass, he can run. And yes, the A.J. Brown stuff has been an over-looming shadow or a cloud, I guess, just overlooking that entire organization over the last couple of years, and he's had to force feed A.J. Brown the ball at times to make him happy. Now that A.J. Brown's a New England Patriot, this might be one of Jalen Hurts' best seasons. You heard it here first. One of his best seasons as a pro coming up this year. He's going to be able to pass the ball around a little bit more. That's what made him really good. Remember at Oklahoma, when he was drafted out of Oklahoma University, the University of Oklahoma, whatever the fuck. When he was drafted out of Oklahoma, he tossed the ball to everybody. He made sure he got everybody involved. And that's what you're going to see in Philadelphia. He has a ring. He's done things that make him an elite quarterback. And guess what? I think what I also factored into all of this is how do you lead your football team? And Jalen Hurts hasn't bought into the drama when they tried to get him into it, tried to talk shit about A.J. Brown when he was there, talk about these other guys. He never bought into it. He was team first, Philly first, and I think he's going to have a great year. He's definitely an elite quarterback.
And then, Rob, final question to you. I'm just skimming through, just trying to see what stands out.
What pissed you off the most? Yeah.
No, not necessarily. I mean, nothing really. There's some votes that some other members of our network had, and we're going to be questioning. But
look, I'll talk to Papa Moon later, okay? My bad.
No.
I'm going to say marijuana is legal in Ohio now. So, yeah, I mean.
Baker Mayfield's in the news because and I don't know if you have Baker Mayfield in news and notes, but he's in the news because he's talking, Tampa Bay media and all that stuff. You have Baker, me and Eli have Baker in tier two. You have him in tier 3. Does he deserve what he's asking for in Tampa Bay, Rob?
Well, first off, I think I'll actually cite the whole marijuana being legal in Ohio thing. I should have put him at 2. I think there's 2 different ways to answer the question. Is he a top 5, top 7 quarterback and deserve to get paid like that? No, he's not. I think he even admitted he was a top 15 quarterback. Yeah. But what he's looking at Tampa Bay right now, and I truly respect what he's doing right now. He is saying that, hey, okay, there might be 10 guys better at this job than me. That's fine. But I don't think that's important. What's important is, can you find anybody better than me right now to come in and replace me? Okay, I might be a top 15. I only might be a top 15 quarterback. But I'm a whole lot better than Jake Browning, who's my backup right now. I'm a whole lot better than a possible free agent Deshaun Watson next year. I'm a lot better than a lot of these, possible, especially if I win you 9-10 games and we're picking in the 20s of the draft again. So, yeah, dude, what option are you going to find? And therefore, if I am in some sort of demand for you, then I am worth something to you at that point in time. So yeah, go get your money, Baker. I do definitely, the last couple of months, I do completely understand where Baker's coming from on that.
I know we got a break. My last thing real quick.
And by the way, Baker Mayfield, next quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'd crash out.
Deshaun Watson in our network, in our votes, every person who's voted so far has said tier 5 for Deshaun Watson, except one person. Eli, do you know who that one person who did not
Please
vote?
Make it be Cornell. Please say it's Cornell.
Well, I know it wasn't Papa Moon because I sat with him while we did ours. We worked on it, and so it wasn't Papa Moon. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm going to say it had to be Kyle.
Kyle has not voted yet.
Okay, well then.
Okay, that's on brand.
Yeah, I'm going to say Ryan Mosser.
No, he has him in tier 5. Ryan was one of our tougher, along with Rozycki, one of our tougher voters.
I would have failed if they were a teacher, I would have failed their class.
We're going to have to look into our internship program.
No, not Money E. Not Money E.
You want to know what he said?
Don't tell me he had him anywhere higher than 4. Okay, let's go to break. Rozycki, send it to break. We got to get news and notes in. I don't have the time. Evander, I love you, bro. You were so but then.
Okay, Moon, congratulations. Your Jets in the playoffs take is no longer the shittiest NFL take of the season. Can we also talk to guest booking too and see if we? And I don't think I've met this intern yet. Can we see? Can we get this person on our show maybe next week and have him possibly explain his work?
I don't think he would turn it down. He's a good dude. Yes. I don't think he would turn it down.
So the three of us can beat the high ever living shit out of him on the internet. He'll be fine with that.
I think he'll be good.
Wonderful. This is the main event here on the Inside Edge Net. We got AA Anthony Alford, Eli Moon. I am Rob Rozycki, and it looks like we've already figured out what we're going to do a little bit next week. Up next, though, we'll figure out what we've learned. We will 2 weeks.
He had him at 2. He had him at almost elite.
Tier 2.
Go ahead, Rob. You're good.
You put him in the same tier that I put Joe Burrow in. Okay, that's awesome.
He's just
all right.
Drake May.
Oh, football season's going to be fun. All right, Inside Edge Radio Net. I am Rob. We got AA. We got Eli Moon. We're trying to make sense of life. We're going to take a few seconds, take a deep breath, and then we'll be back with news and notes of what we've learned and try to get AA out of here in the next 15 minutes.
Brock Purdy. Oh, my goodness.
Key On Sports is the leader in Ohio high school athletic coverage in written, print, and video streaming. From the latest news and results and written content to the high school football game of the week every Friday, Key On Sports has you covered. The vision of 15-time published author Vince McKee has become the most trusted site in Ohio high school athletic news. From podcasts to player profiles, Key On Sports is your one-stop for all of it. Visit them today at keyonsports.com or on YouTube at Key On Sports. Check out their socials on Twitter and Facebook as well.
Clean energy, bold flavors, and no jitters. See why people won't shut up about Dubby. Clean energy, no jitters or crash. Whether you're starting your workday or getting ready to exercise, Dubby Energy helps you lock in and focus. With over 15 flavors to choose from, you can't miss. Order Dubby Energy right now by using the QR code on your screen and use the promo code InsideEdge10 to receive 10% off your order. Dubby Energy, your energy-focused sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Discover our collection of body mists made with clean, minimal ingredients. Handcrafted with natural essential oils and clean ingredients, they offer a natural alternative to synthetic fragrances. Perfect for sensitive skin and those seeking clean, mindful self-care, and the perfect gift for you or your special someone. Courtesy of Alley Rose Fragrances. First-time customers, use that promo code InsideEdge20 to receive 20% off your order. AlleyRoseFragrances.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Whether searching for a baseball autographed by your favorite World Series slugger, a signed football by an iconic Hall of Famer, or the jersey of a world-famous soccer star, you've come to the right place. Here at SportsMemorabilia.com, the web's leading source of authentic sports memorabilia, you'll find more than 500,000 authentic products from nearly every professional sports league, team, and players. Not only will you find your next prized sports possession with ease thanks to superb customer service and tremendous site experience, you'll have the satisfaction and peace of mind that every product listed comes complete with a certificate of authenticity and is fully backed by the SportsMemorabilia.com lifetime authenticity guarantee. Go to SportsMemorabilia.com by using the QR code on your screen right now. SportsMemorabilia.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Podcast Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Find us on InsideEdgeNetwork.com for the latest information on your favorite shows, personalities, and network partners. Plus, guess what? We have a merch shop. That's right, we have network polos, t-shirts, champion jackets, hats, and bottles. Rep the network. Every purchase supports independent sports and entertainment media. Use the QR code on your screen right now to check out InsideEdgeNetwork.com. That's InsideEdgeNetwork.com. Clean energy, bold flavors, and no jitters. See why people won't shut up about Dubby. Clean energy, no jitters or crash. Whether you're starting your workday or getting ready to exercise, Dubby Energy helps you lock in and focus. With over 15 flavors to choose from, you can't miss. Order Dubby Energy right now by using the QR code on your screen and use the promo code InsideEdge10 to receive 10% off your order. Dubby Energy, your energy-focused sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader.
Welcome back to the main event here on the Inside Edge Net. I'm Rob. We got Double A, Eli. Final segment of the show. We're going to try to do a sprint, and it's probably going to be unsuccessful, but we'll go at it anyway. All right, we'll go through some news and notes here right quick before Double A's landlord starts banging on his door. Okay, Moon, you brought this one to my attention too. I think this broke down today. Jalen Polk, he's a Saints receiver, correct?
Patriots receiver, yep.
Patriots, my bad.
Okay.
He abruptly retired today at basically the top of training camp. We just got done talking about where the Browns are at. Most teams are kind of in that first phase of training camp where they're just wandering around the field trying not to get hurt. And the Polk retires out of nowhere, basically. And what was the reasons he was kind of citing on this?
There's not really a lot coming out in terms of like his reasonings. Like, it just announced that he was going to retire at 24 years old, and this is a second round pick, guys. Like, he retired at 24. I mean, he was a stud at Washington, and really the big thing, is just I don't know where to go. Like, I've been like, when reading this story, and somebody who has him on his fantasy football team, I'm like, damn, I gotta find a new receiver. But like, the big thing too, like, they're saying it's not clear why he decided to retire. His Instagram account also was deactivated, it appears, on Sunday. This is per CBS News and Neil Riley, who wrote the report. So you could kind of put a few different things. Maybe mental health. We're big, obviously. One of our pillars here on the Inside Edge Network is mental health. And so obviously you hope he's okay if he's deactivating his social media. Maybe he's just needing to go through some. He's going through some stuff we don't know, obviously, and he hasn't elaborated on it. So there's a lot of things. And the other thing too, is we see the talk of CTE. We see the talk of some of these injuries, what they do to people, and maybe he just said, you know what? Hey, I got $9 million, a little bit over $9 million, with I think a little bit over $3 million in a signing bonus when he was, drafted by the Patriots and was a second round pick. Maybe he said, I'm just gonna take my ball and go home. I got enough money to take care of my fam. I'm good. But I sincerely hope he's okay. The deactivation of the Instagram account's a little concerning, because it's like, if you were just done on football, why would you? Unless he wants to live a personal life, like
him just saying, I'm not a character in this story anymore.
Right. So, but you just worry about him, right? I'm worried about him a little bit there, but also I think he just said, I'm cool. And you see football players setting this trend. Andrew Luck, I said, for this generation, kind of set that trend. We talked about him a little bit last segment, but you see this more and more. Chris Olave, a guy who just got a contract extension from the Saints, he talked about how he was considering retirement. He had multiple concussions, and then he just had his best year as a pro last season for the Saints. And now things are a little different now. But these guys are definitely considering it earlier, and they're making money. So I guess it comes down to two things. Can you manage your money enough to where you can only play a few years, get your money and get out? Or, are you going to have to play 12, 15 years to make sure that you're good when you're in your 50s and 60s?
I wonder, there might be two types of guy here with this.
Right.
There might be the one who is in college and knows this is what the case is going to be. Like, hey, if I play 4 or 5 years, work out a contract, unless maybe I catch fire and I'm a Hall of Fame player, that might be a different story. But like, hey, I'm just going to do this for a contract, make a few $1,000,000, get out of here. Or you got another group of people that I wonder how big it is that sees those interviews that Michael Strahan did with Chris Johnson, that sees Steve Gleason's story, that sees all these now, ALS and CTE and, other major health problems that these players are having, especially with the Chris Johnson one, because that was just a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Like, how many of these guys were spooked by something like that, going, hey, dude, like, yeah, as fun as this is, I want to be able to, like, hug my kids at 40.
Yeah. It's scary, and Double A, I know you got some thoughts too, but the one thing that stands out too is, like, you could say, okay, well, he had NIL money. Jalen Polk missed out on the NIL money. He actually,
official NIL money.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's only a crime if you get
maybe that SEC NIL money from like 98.
Yeah, but I'll say this: it's even kind of puzzled me more when I was reading about the story earlier today, because he missed out on the legal NIL money, and he wasn't getting, at least to our knowledge, this goo-wop of money that these athletes are getting. His big payday was when he got drafted in the second round of the NFL draft by the Patriots. So you just wonder, it's like, he didn't. Okay, $9 million is nothing. $9 million is nothing to be like, oh, that isn't enough. Like, if you know how to manage your money and he's got good support team, we talk about it all the time, a good circle around him, then he's good. But you just wonder, like, what's going through this guy's mind? Of course, first, I hope he's all right, like, because some of the things are a little concerning. But two, he might just be like, dude, I am okay. I just don't want to be in the public eye anymore, man. I want to go spend some time with my family. I got the money. I'm gonna go chill.
I wonder, two names come to mind. I mean, obviously Andrew Luck, but there's two other names. Calvin Johnson, who if Megatron wanted to, he could have gone on for another 10 years if he wanted
He might be able to play now.
He can play now. And then, Rob, I'll defer to you on this thing. You know where I'm going with this. Barry Sanders.
Well, yeah, both of those players we've always kind of chalked up, throughout history as the reason being the Lions. That was, that's just, and we can probably open up a mental health conversation on just being a member of that organization. But you talk about those guys. I don't know how much the long-term health, especially with Barry being a running back and being a very physical kind of player. He was taking a lot more contact than even Calvin Johnson was. I wonder how much the health played into it as opposed to the winning and the dead end situation they were in. But, you got dudes like Blaine Gabbert. I think he was the one for Tennessee that played out basically his full rookie deal, said, all right, we're square, I'm done. And that seemed more like a plan than anything. Like, hey, let me catch my first round rookie deal. I'll get my $30 million. And I'm looking around, hey, I'm in 25 years old. I'll do what everybody else does and fucking work and make some money that way. And, maybe not be set for life, but be content having a career somewhere else. If you do that right, it's a hell of a seed deal. And, with this kid from New England, I don't know what his situation is. Is he from an affluent household? Is he from, South Central LA where he's got, 12 brothers and sisters that are all dirt poor too, that he's got to worry about? Like that depends on it too. Like if he's in a stable financial situation anyway, then $3 million is going to go a long way. If you're trying to buy houses for everybody though, that's going to go in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
So, it's just, like the modern player now that's getting a lot more money up front, especially for second round picks. Money. We talk about money a lot, in sports and every bit of life. Really what money is options. If you have money, you have options. Yep. And these guys are now getting a couple of bucks in their pocket. They have options.
Right. And my final point on this story in particular, at least right now, I may have some more thoughts later on this week on primetime. But, as you mentioned, Rob, he started with the Patriots, and you're correct. He finished with the Saints. He never played a snap for the Saints. He had that shoulder injury.
Okay, so we were both right. Okay.
Yeah. We'll get, high five, virtual high five. But, he had the shoulder injury that had him miss the entire 2025 season. And he missed the year before. Mike Vrabel is on, comments saying, hey, he was starting to move around. He was starting to do the thing, starting to get momentum. They had high hopes for him, and then he gets re-injured again. They moved him off for basically a 7th-round pick, I believe it was, in 28 to the Saints. And, the other thing to consider, and again, this is my final point on this, because there's so much unknown, is maybe he just got sick of, feeling like he's damaged goods. He was also damaged. I don't want to say damaged, but he was injured, I believe, at Washington, one of his big years. That's why Romo Odunze had his standout year at Washington. It's because Jalen Polk was the number 1 in Washington, got hurt, Odunze stood out, and Polk came back as the number 2 for the Huskies. And maybe he just got sick of being like, man, dude, I keep getting hurt, and I'm getting shipped around. I'm already on my second team in the NFL, and I never even played a snap for the Patriots. Maybe he was just tired.
It might be a self-worth thing. We have being seen as damaged goods, and it's also I don't know if your typical fan knows how lonely the rehab process is. You're not around your teammates. You're kind of ducking in the back door, doing a bunch of, you're not doing drills with them. You're not hanging out. You're not going on the road with them. And unless there's somebody else who's hurt with you, who's rehabbing with you, you're really only talking to a couple of trainers and just kind of living your life. Like it's a very secluded deal. So you do that for, you figure, I didn't know his injury history. If his first 2 years in the NFL were basically washed away due to injury, that's all he knows as an NFL player, then all right, man. And then plus two, you have ask Andrew Luck about this, what it does to your mental health, just being in pain every day.
Right.
If it's your knees or your back or your noodle or your neck or your, whatever, just the compounded deal, I think you have to, play on, and you're not getting any of the perks out of it except for the paycheck. But you're not getting game days, you're not getting time with your teammates, you're not all the stuff that you like about being a pro, you're really not doing.
Right.
And everyone around you
is
like, what do you mean you're not going to play anymore? Like, you're in the NFL. What do you mean you're not going to play? it's not their lives. It's his life. So that's good for him. And again, if you play one snap in the NFL, you have a job for life coaching high school football.
Right.
Oh yeah, and people, like, and I don't know the numbers on the NFL. It have to be probably a little bit bigger, but like the select few of people that have a chance to step on a field and to be able to play. Like I think last number I saw was if you took the entirety of Major League Baseball, living and dead from 1875 on. And took the entire roster of players, you could not fill Progressive Field with it. It's 2/3 of a house. It's that few people. So, like, yeah, you get to do it once. Okay, yeah. And then, yeah, at that point, you just kind of get over it and move on. Speaking of moving on, though, this is news and notes here on the Main Event Inside Edge Net. And also, speaking of money, probably not in a good way, though. Apparently, FIFA was up for sale for about 3 days, and then everyone got really pissed off. And when I say everybody, I mean international soccer organizations like UEFA, and fans alike. Everyone got pissed off, and UEFA, and one of the rare things you see in sports, backtracked on it. Apparently, they were going to go about 20% to $20 billion worth of FIFA to private equity that did have some connection to Donald Trump. So there is that. But everyone kind of put their foot down and said, "Hey, if you guys do this, we're out." And yeah, FIFA now is I don't know if it's in damage control mode, if they're just saying mea culpa or what's going on, but yeah, FIFA in the news again for FIFA reasons. I mean, like, let's face it, we're used to FIFA being in the news for 3.5 years out of the news cycle for this shit, not for the actual game. So FIFA back to being FIFA.
Was the Saudis involved with this?
I don't think was there. I don't think there was any Saudi money involved. It was a Kushner, which is pretty close, but. It wasn't Saudi. It was private equity. It seemed like basically they wanted to kind of just start a new company that was going to run the World Cup, and they were going to sell stake in that to that group.
Right. Correct. Yep.
That's the whole revenue. With the TV deal with the World Cups, like no wonder why that didn't go through.
Well, the money, and also, this is Infantino like trying to basically dodge everything that has been going on. Not only just with this World Cup, obviously we benefited for a moment before Belgium put belt to ass to us, but with Balogun, coming out from the red card and that getting reversed and everything like that, and FIFA making that decision, on top of everything else that Rob has mentioned, FIFA being a dumpster fire, Infantino was like, all right, well, I'm going to dip out and I'm going to make a profit off of it, selling 20% off of his stake. You got to answer your questions. We talk all the time when you're in a position of power, whether it's, the president of the United States or it's these organizations that have commissioners or presidents or whatever, you have to answer to some of the things you do. You can't just run away from it. And I think, unfortunately, the world right now is in a spot where a lot of people feel like they can just say whatever they want and then run away and duck and hide or make stupid ass decisions and then just leave. But that FIFA basically said no, or as LA Knight says, nah. Or whatever, basically he said we're not having this. Like we're not having Infantino basically get away with leaving FIFA, making bread while doing so, and leaving us in a shitstorm. And that's not happening. So now he has to answer again to the 211 people on the board and figure out what is going on with soccer. How can you make this game bigger across the world? How can you bring more of a clean game? And I don't mean clean necessarily on the pitch, on the field. I mean in terms of all the noise,
transparency.
Drama. Correct. We talk about it, we spent time earlier this week talking about, the WNBA and the marketing and all the drama off the court takes over and supersedes the play on the court at times. And that's the same thing with FIFA. And Infantino thought he was just going to sneak out the back door. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And the team said no. I mean, if you go through with this, we're talking, I got the ESPN article, 55 member UEFA nations would have boycotted the World Cup, and then also the Central American and Caribbean Association Football, and the AFC, no, not the American Football Conference, the Asian Football Confederation also opposed to playing. Too many said no.
By the way, soccer has more acronyms than any sport I ever want to come across, and by the way, too. Asia has the AFC, and we have fucking CONCACAF. Like, can we come up with a different acronym for what the hell's happening here? Can we please? For the abbreviation shouldn't have 3 syllables.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I
Like,
get it.
what the bloody hell is going on with this? Major League Baseball is 4 syllables. What the hell? But yeah, it's FIFA being FIFA at this rate. I mean, one thing I think we can also kind of take away as fans, and grant you, yes, this was a lot of the the international federations putting their foot down, but we see it happen with the Super League last year. Was the fans protested? The fans said, we ain't going to take this shit. And I think one thing we can do as American fans is, especially NFL, and remember the fact that they depend on us for their revenue. They depend on subscription rates and tickets and concessions and merch and all the other stuff that comes along with this stuff. If we collectively finally just had enough of some of this stuff that we deal with as American fans that really don't happen, and like the ticket fees prices and like the cable providers and all this stuff that seems to be uniquely American, if we just collectively put our foot down and said, no, we've had all we can stands and we can stands no more, then maybe people would listen. But we don't really ever get to that phase in this country.
Soccer fans do stand up though. And
they stand up and will light shit on fire.
They will.
And I'm not being metaphorical.
Have you? You need to attend. Both of you at some point need to attend a Hell is Fire, Columbus Cincinnati matchup down at Cruz Stadium.
All right, perfect.
That sounds like a barn burner.
Yeah,
it is. I went back in 2021.
Okay.
Woo, man.
Ohio versus Kentucky. Let's do it, baby.
That was an experience.
All righty. This is the main event here on the Inside Edge Net. We are, predictably running long. Here's where we're at. We'll go through, let's see. Okay, we got, I'll pick one out of these last 3 here. All right, gentlemen. It looks like the NBA and sources have told The Athletic that this whole Kawhi Leonard aspiration, Steve Ballmer love triangle bullshit. The investigation on this could now bleed into 2027.
Oh boy.
Now we are talking about some stuff that happened in 2023 and 2024, and we're talking about an investigation that started earlier this year. I think actually late last year is when all this kind of came to light. Guys, why do we care about the salary cap in baseball? Why do we care about the salary cap in the NBA? Like, if leagues aren't going to enforce these rules, and I thought above everything, salary cap circumvention was the no-no of no-nos. Like, that's the competitive balance of the league. That's the integrity of the sport, so on, all the crap that we talk about every week. But we're going to ignore this and just kind of throw it to the side. And really what they're doing is hoping that they can wait long enough where people will stop caring about the story, because they don't want to punish Steve Ballmer. He is a very, very powerful owner. He is not the richest owner in the NBA. He is not the richest owner in North America. He is the richest owner worldwide in professional sports. We're talking serious, serious money. He is one of the few owners in any sport that could buy the league if he wanted to. So they don't want to piss that off. But, if I'm a Dan Gilbert or anybody like that, why do I give a damn about the salary cap? And really, well, how do you feel about this? Do you care about cap circumvention, or is this something that, just kind of gets swept under the rug and kind of like ignored because games do get played and other stuff happens?
Well, it's definitely a problem because, you can't do it, first off. It's against the rules. Like,
no, clearly you can.
Well, clearly, yeah. Clearly, I guess it's like, if you commit the crime but you don't get caught, is it really a crime? But, like, he did get caught, and that's the thing. Steve Ballmer got caught, and Kawhi Leonard got caught. They weren't planting any trees out there. This is just really what it is. And so, the other owners should be offended, or governors, or, we're at this point now where it affects 2 things, right? Because one, Steve Ballmer, I guess he has to accept the punishment because obviously, like Rob said, the league doesn't want to piss him off. They got to find the right punishment. That Steve Ballmer, hey, please, Mr. Ballmer, take this punishment. Like we have 10 different punishment list of punishments. Will you take this? Okay, no, we'll go to this one. Okay, no, this one. Like it's to the point where it's like, okay, dude, like figure something out, because not only is this affecting Steve Ballmer and his spot. And the Clippers, remember, an organization that has already had to move on from an owner in the last 10, 15 years for different reasons, of course. But now we're in a different mess. And the same Clippers situation, they still haven't won a title, and it's a mess. And so it affects them. Ballmer, of course, it affects the Clippers organization because they're trying to restart with Darius Garland, former Cavalier, and some of these other young guys, Benedict Mathurin, and some of these other guys that they've acquired. It affects them, and it also affects the Toronto Raptors. Let's not forget them as well, because Kawhi Leonard was traded to the Toronto Raptors back there earlier this offseason. But the way Rob's talking about this 2027 wait could affect the Toronto Raptors because
this deal has to be dead.
The deal cannot be completed until the investigation's done. That's what the NBA said.
No. It's a little different than that. What it is they said you can complete the deal, but Toronto, you're going to have to deal with any punishment Kawhi may or may not have. And they don't know what that is. So that's why they're balking on it.
True. Right. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, I guess, for lack of better words, it's still up in the air. Like, it's still, Kawhi Leonard was at Kyle Lowry's retirement speech in Toronto. And now he may not even play as a Raptor again. The big talk of Kawhi's back home and da-da-da. Like, this is damaging not only to Steve Ballmer, not only to the Clippers. I'll keep the Raptors out of it because, whatever. Like, you know what? You were just trying to bring the guy back home. Whatever. I'll give you that. But this is damaging to Kawhi Leonard, too. This is a guy, and I hand it off to Double A because this is my last thought on it. Kawhi Leonard at one point, let's not forget. I mean, people have forgot. But 12, 13 years ago, Kawhi Leonard was being talked about as one of the best, if not the best player in the NBA.
And he's coming off one of the best seasons of his career this year, too. He had a hell of a year.
Right, but I'm saying, like, just think about all the stuff that's happened since he left San Antonio. Yes, Toronto, the championship, but then he didn't want to be there, so he goes to L.A., and it's kind of a giant dud, for lack of better words. They tried with Paul George. They tried with James Harden. They've tried making it happen and making it work. His legacy is going to be one of the more muddier ones of this current generation. We talk about LeBron's legacy, and that's a discussion. Kevin Durant's legacy, that's a discussion. Kawhi Leonard, we're going to have to seriously have a discussion about you listen to Uncle Dennis, you went to L.A., and you really screwed yourself out of maybe something special with the Raptors, and now all this shit. So I just think Kawhi Leonard's going to have a really weird legacy when it's all
I'm going to call it, I'm going to say his legacy will be murky. I think that might be a good word because, and it's all the off the courts. He's really the only person that was a major player in San Antonio that had a problem with, because he was having a problem with the doctors.
Right.
Like he was difficult, he was having issues with the management and saying, you think of all the great players they had through there. They love Pop. They love the organization. Like he was kind of the only one with that one. The Uncle Dennis stuff that's always been lingering around. And now with the Pablo Torre stuff, like the stuff that Uncle Dennis was asking for, he was asking for ownership stake in teams. He was trying to allegedly anyway, coax the Raptors because, the NBA rule says a player can't own a team. They were trying to work something out with the Raptors that he would get some of the Maple Leafs, a couple of percentage points of that whole situation, just doing everything they can to circumvent every rule. And I agree with you. It does come down on Kawhi a little bit here. Yeah, the owner has to let it happen. The guy who's signing the checks has to green light it, but Kawhi knows what the rules are. His representation knows what the rules are. And the fact that you're asking for shit that is just not even close to anything legal, that's on you. I understand trying to get every nickel you can get because we see it from all these athletes right now that $100 million just isn't enough to live on for the rest of your life, and you need more. So I can I understand getting the money you're entitled to, but the fact that you're willing to break any rule possible to get paid, and again, we would not be here. We wouldn't have any idea about anything about this shit if Kawhi Leonard planted 2 trees and made a tweet about it.
Yep.
Isn't
and it's
that
crazy.
something?
It's crazy. Double A, isn't it
If
crazy?
he would have taken a half hour of his fucking time,
right.
a lunch break.
It's crazy that this was once the quiet guy on the Spurs that could do no wrong. He was just a good player.
He's still quiet, but it's now seen as different quiet.
Let me add on to what you guys have been talking about. I've been looking up some information too. Like, why is the NBA dragging their feet on this? Like, why is Adam Silver kind of hiding behind an investigation? Like, just make a decision on what you're going to do and move forward. Like, because now you're impacting. I really don't care what happens with Kawhi and the Clippers. The Toronto Raptors is who I feel bad for.
Right.
Because you need to let them know, hey, is this going to go through or not? Or if this is going to be, if we're dropping this punishment, do you still want to go through with the trade? Like the Raptors.
Well, at least they have the option. Because you look at Miami's bitching still to this day that they gave up a first-round pick for Terry Rozier while there was an active federal investigation on it, and nobody let them know. They get Rozier for what, a half a season, however long it was, before he's suspended, and the NBA's looking at them going, sucks to be you.
Yeah, like I blame the league. I mean, listen, the Clippers and Kawhi and it's the, ultimately if they did the crime, they got to, do the time or whatever it may be. But I blame the NBA for not just like, what are we doing?
Right.
What are we doing? Like, what are we hiding behind? Like, is your legal team not strong enough to like make a decision and just move forward? Like, I agree with the Dan Le Batard and Pablo Torre. Like, this is not the Supreme Court here, folks. This is
the other thing is to
make a decision and then move forward.
The other thing is that
I'm sorry, real quick.
Yeah.
Last thing. There's no reason, no excuse, none, why this should drag into September, October, into 2027. That's inexcusable. That is a horrible look on the NBA. Go ahead, Rob.
Unless this is a bigger story, because I'm also hearing, and Pablo is reporting a little bit too, there might be even more side deals with Kawhi. But what this investigation, this aspiration investigation, we shouldn't be even talking about it bleeding out until now. If you look, if you go into this information here, and I've been keeping an eye on this story pretty much since the day it happened. Joe Sandberg was the CEO of Aspiration. He was the guy who was kind of working allegedly with Ballmer on this whole deal. And I don't even really need to say allegedly. And this is why I'm wondering why it's bleeding out. They have a federal indictment. This guy's in jail for 14 years for this stuff. The evidence that the federal government had was good enough to put Sandberg in prison with a plea deal for 14 years. Why isn't it good enough for the NBA to do something? Why does the NBA have to investigate anything? It says it in the indictment that this was a ploy to circumvent the NBA salary cap. The reason why the feds didn't say anything about it was the feds don't give two shits about the NBA salary cap. That's not law. That's just a bylaw of a corporation. It wasn't illegal. It was just unethical.
Yeah.
Or at least federally illegal. So they didn't care about that. But the NBA can look at that document. You can pull that up online right now. And in fact, Pablo actually went one step further. They had that indictment taped underneath a chair that, one of his podcast hosts went and grabbed, and they were kind of unloading it on air. And this is what this is. What he didn't tell anybody, though, until that moment, that was the same chair at the conference he was at that Adam Silver was sitting in. That indictment was taped under Adam Silver's ass for 2 hours, and he didn't know about it. And then they brought it out and said, all right, this is what this is. So why aren't you doing anything? Why aren't you, the federal government deemed this evidence strong enough to put somebody in prison for 14 years? Why isn't it good enough for you guys to do anything about your bylaws, about the rules that you're supposed to be here to enforce? I don't know.
Yeah, we talk all the time about legacy. My final point on this is we talk about legacy with players, talk about legacy with coaches, with general managers, with governors, owners, whatever. Adam Silver, man. We want to talk about, we talked about the WNBA, in this past week on the network about Kathy Engelbert. Basketball commissioners right now are looking pretty rough. And that's my final point.
The only saving grace with both commissioners are the TV deals.
Yes.
And a lot of owners, obviously the commissioners work for the owners. Anybody who points at them and say, oh, they're doing a bad job, look at the TV deal. Yeah, and that's it. But overall, yeah, absolutely. This is not good. This is not good. Again, figure something out so the Raptors can know what to do. That's the one part of this that I feel bad for. Let them know so Toronto.
If I'm the Raptors, I'm just assuming this deal's dead at this rate. I'm just moving on.
If I was the Raptors, yeah.
But then I guess, sorry, one more final point. But then I guess if you're Brandon Ingram, the main piece, and the other guys that were moved in that deal, how do you feel going back to Toronto? Like, now you got to go back to a team that essentially said, hey, we wanted to upgrade, and you were the piece to upgrade.
I don't know.
Now you got to go back to
At
Toronto.
the end of the
Call
day,
Max Crosby, see how he took it.
at the end of the day, are they paying you?
His business.
They are.
On the ball.
They are, but
I
there's
get your point though. But,
yeah, we all know that when you're not wanted by a team, it's a little different. Max Crosby, and to answer that, Rozycki is a little different. He wanted out
I
of
get
Vegas.
that.
He wanted out
But
of
the
Vegas.
thing is, though, and NBA players are great at this. Like, whenever they want to go free agent and take more money somewhere else, it's just business. But whenever the team wants to move them to make the roster better, give them more flexibility for a myriad of reasons, then it's personal. So, like, yeah, come on, guys. Like, is business all the time or is business none of the time? All right. I almost gave the WTAM call-in number as a transition there. All right. That's muscle memory. But yes, this is the main event here on the Inside Edge net. Yes, 216. But yeah, yes, you don't call them right now. No one will pick up. There's no one there to pick up. But yeah, main event on the Inside Edge net. I'm Rob. We got Double A, Eli Moon. Let's figure out what we've learned today, gentlemen. Anybody want to go first? Anybody want to go last? Or what's going on here?
I'll just get it started. Mine's a real quick one. What I learned this weekend, a few things. Moving at 29, a little tough. It gets tougher as you move on. So, I'm going to get movers for my official next move, and I will advise my family to do the same damn thing, get some movers, because, look, I can only do so many more. I'm going to start greasing up, the elbows and the knees, and so I can, take care of the move correctly. The other thing I learned, too, is it's a beautiful time to sit here and reflect on the good things going on in a world that's really in a bunch of madness, to be able to reflect on whether it's great people around you, being able to enjoy great music, a new album that it's dropped that maybe you're enjoying or whatever. I just learned that it's been great to realize there's cool things going on. Didn't necessarily learn it this weekend, but Wednesday and Thursday I was out in Columbus visiting my little brother. And what I learned this week is my little brother is I already knew he was smarter than me, but he's going to be set up for a very strong future. That makes me super, super happy. And he's doing very well for himself. And I also learned that Kozai is super dope in Columbus. That I could get lost in there for a lot more time if we had more time to stay there. That's what I learned this weekend.
Could you imagine how better our lives would be if we were good at stuff that actually made money as opposed to stuff that's just fun to do and doesn't pay for shit?
My little brother's like, I don't care about sports respectfully. Like he told me, I was like, dude, he's like, I like Aaron
Why
Rodgers.
couldn't I be an engineer?
Dude, my little brother was like, I love the Green Bay Packers version of Aaron Rodgers. He's like, but any other sports stuff, I really don't care about. He's like, I'd rather just, and then he showed me imaginary numbers in this, and I was like, dude, you lost me. Let's go get some food. Like, that's where we're at. That's what I learned.
All right, so for me here, this was a little. I know earlier we talked about SummerSlam, and then earlier in the show too, Chris Johnson, ALS. I want to show you guys Rebel. She is a wrestler at AEW, and unfortunately, currently at the age of 47, she got an ALS diagnosis, and this is terminal. And unfortunately, with ALS, we haven't really thoroughly talked about this with Chris Johnson, but there's not enough research, not enough information on ALS, not enough solutions for, recover or anything like that. She mentioned in her message a few months back that she's basically praying for a peaceful death. Imagine in your 40s, or in the case of Chris Johnson, maybe in your late 30s, you get this out of nowhere and you're preparing for your death. It's terrible. And, she thought a couple years back, she thought she just had a lung infection and they couldn't figure out what was going on with her. And then all of a sudden, she can't talk anymore. She can't walk. She really can't function. She can't do anything. And so, kudos to AEW. They're going to have a tribute show a month from now, and hopefully she'll be able to see it and witness it and things like that. Also, kudos to Kevin Owens, who on the SummerSlam post-game show had mentioned Rebel. It's like, this is bigger than pro wrestling. She doesn't work for WWE. Like, this is bigger than pro wrestling. So whatever, it's tough. Whatever we can do to kind of help out or contribute and, prayers and support, things like that for Rebel, who, again, healthy, looks great, but in a span of 2 years, like, we could post videos that things can turn that quickly, so, prayers to her and her family. She just wants her final days to be peaceful and to have, full support of, not just the wrestling community, but anybody that's come across with her. And you may or may not follow pro wrestling, but if you're watching a show and you follow the National Football League, Chris Johnson, is on ALS. And again, we don't know like his full status or anything of sort, but that disease, that cancer there are certain diseases like, man, I can, do whatever to kind of fight this off. I know, like, when you have a certain situation where you have no clue, doctors don't know, nobody knows what you can do to fight off something. You just got to deal with it until it's done. That's it. That's the worst thing. I know, me personally and my family, my grandfather had Alzheimer's, and we saw like all 5 stages of Alzheimer's. There's nothing you can do about it other than care, other than being there, and just be there. So that's what I learned. Shout out again to Kevin Owens, who brought that, attention to the mainstream again with the WWE platform. But, again, you can blame Tony Khan for a lot of things, but him opening up, I think it's September 9th, a show fully dedicated to her, bracelets, things like that to help support her journey and her family, things like that, just to bring awareness to ALS.
And pay for this treatment, too. It can't be cheap.
Pay for the treatment, absolutely. Pay for the treatment. So prayers. And then we just got to be more, as painful and uncomfortable as it is, we just got to be a little bit more up to speed on some of the things that's going on, medically, and maybe we can get that.
The NFL is bad at talking about it. Wrestling is not great at it. Yeah, it's not something we want to admit as fans, too, that this stuff does come at a cost. All the chair shots in the ring or all the, head-to-head collisions on the gridiron. Like, yeah, these guys and gals now are several times more likely to get ALS and Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and all these conditions that we've been talking about for the last couple of years now.
And it can happen so quick too, because even with Chris Johnson, like, it wasn't that long ago, we're talking about drafting Chris Johnson in fantasy football and this and that, and then they step away, they retire, and then out of the blue, it happens quick. Like, oh my goodness, like,
yeah, you're on GMA and everyone's like, what the hell happened? Yeah,
right.
So,
all right.
That's what I learned. Also, my last thing: if your fast food restaurant runs for 24 hours, if you decide to stay up for breakfast, you still have to wait till 5 a.m. for breakfast.
Yeah, when I did 24-hour Mickey D's, it was 3. That's when we did the changeover.
All
right.
But yeah, but that was also 20 years ago. But yes, this main event Inside Edge Net. What I have learned, and we were going to hit a little bit of it in the rundown today, but we just didn't have time in the baseball bitching, is that every good team needs a guy that likes to start a fight. Every team needs a dude that if you look at him wrong, he's going to start talking. And if you take one step towards him, he will knock your face off. And we saw it today. Gavin Williams doing his thing, 5 perfect innings. He was first 15 up, we're 15 out. He was facing the minimum going into the 6th inning. And then some little dinkus for the Arizona Diamondbacks thought it would be cute to try to lay down a bunt. Now, I'm not going to sit here and talk about the unwritten rules of baseball, what is right, what is wrong, whatever. I think everybody kind of has a different interpretation on it. They were up 5-0. The game before, they put 7 runs up on or the Guardians were up 5-0 in the game today. Yesterday, Arizona dropped a 7-run inning on us. So, I mean, like, they can make an argument that, okay, we could be in this, but whatever. However, though, we saw a little chirping out of Brian Rocchio. We saw a little consternation from the catcher. Mm-hmm. And then we even see at the end of that inning, a few people kind of mulling around. Rogie Odor, the third base coach, looked like he wanted to fight somebody, and I give him credit there. There you go. But everyone's sitting here wondering what to do about it. If I'm Gavin Williams, you try to break up my perfect with a bunt, and then you end up getting a base hit off me. Guess what? The no-hitter's gone. The perfecto's gone. I'm just going to have to deal with life. And part of me dealing with life would be aiming. I have a ball. You have an ear hole. Let's make that happen, because that's exactly what Nolan Ryan would have done. You bunt on Nolan Ryan in that situation, not only is he going to throw at your head, he's going to pitch for 20 more years just so he could throw at your kid's head. That's what he's going to do. He's going to start a fight. He's going to put the fear of God in people. He is going to handle his shit in a way that a grown man does. And I'm not saying we need to turn into the Jailblazers. I'm not saying that a team needs to have 15 guys who can go into the UFC and, take down Stipe Miocic. That doesn't need to happen. But you need to show an opponent every once in a while that there is a line, and if you do cross that line, what will happen to you when it happens? You disrespect me, I'll put a ball in your ear hole. You come in hard on a slide, I'll come in hard on a slide too. You want to clear the benches? We're not going to clear the benches for a chat. If you want to get everybody on their feet, we'll get you on your feet. That's what they need to do. That's what this Guardians team is lacking. There is a lot of, there's not even really a lot of talk, but there's definitely no bite to any bark that they do have, unless it's Jose Ramirez and Tim Anderson.
Yeah.
And it might be more of an organizational thing with the Guardians. You never, they're one of the teams that never do that kind of. They might get an order from up top saying, hey, don't do this shit. Who knows? But if that's the case, it needs to change. And if that's not the case, they need to find a player who has no problem taking a 5-game suspension to protect his boys. Yeah. That's what I've learned. Every good team needs an instigator, needs somebody who has no problem, who almost looks a little eager when everyone starts getting a little irritated here. Those guys, if you have a dude who looks like a kid on Christmas morning when guys start shoving each other, that's a dude I want on my side.
I'm with you.
That's why for years I've wanted Draymond Green on this team.
That's what I'm saying.
On the Cavs.
Yeah. I'll take him on the Guardians too at this point. I know he's on Golden State, but
He's coming to slap the shit out of somebody. That'll be fine.
Somebody, man, somebody. I'm with you. I'm 1,000% with you. I mean, there's just some things you can't do in base. You're not allowed to bunt during perfect.
And that whole everything about what happened this afternoon was nuts. Everything.
But and at the end of the inning, they're jawing. The Diamondbacks and them are getting cranky at home plate. By the way, the rain is pouring down around them and completely fucking the field up. They can't get the tarp out there. But they were doing basically the baseball equivalent of a strongly worded email. Like they wanted to speak to the manager. They didn't want to really do anything of any consequence. They just wanted to kind of just get squirrely for a second. No, dude, shit or get off the pot. If you're gonna get pissed, get pissed. If you're gonna do something, do something. I don't understand. Maybe now in modern ball, we're worried about suspensions and fines and all this stuff on a level that we quite haven't been. But man, dude, I think they missed a moment right there.
Do you imagine if they would have started swinging at home plate, and then you got the grounds crew like, hey guys.
Grounds crew would have started swinging too, man. They're trying to get that damn home plate freaking covered, man. They would have started swinging too.
Man, I felt bad. The one dude, I think McNeil the camera zoomed in on it. The one guy on the grounds crew, he's trying to get in position, and he fell over the tarp, trying to roll down.
Oh yeah, he almost saw his maker right then and there.
Oh man, I felt so bad because you got his face. People who know him, he's on social media. It's like they either got to give that young man a raise, or he's gonna have to look for a new line of work. Like that. Back there.
All righty. I think we're only even half an hour late here, gentlemen. So I think Double A's landlord hopefully will be okay with what is happening. But yes, this is the main event here on the Inside Edge Net. I'm Rob Rozycki. We got Eli Moon, Double A Anthony Alford, thank you all for joining us. I think it's a small moral victory that we're getting this puppy done in under 3 hours. So I think we did good with there. But yes, a phenomenal show, gentlemen. I am very glad to be a part of this one. I think we had a lot of good segments, and I hope everybody at home had as much fun listening to this as we did doing it.
ESPN The Ocho this week. The new Ocho stuff coming up this week.
I'm watching the old stuff. I'm watching some axe throwing right now. So, like, do Double A. I think you and I need to get together on a podcast for something like this, at least a conversation about this, because, yeah, I am just entranced. I mean, they had me at that ice race a few weeks ago. So, yeah. We're good to go here.
We're going to be breaking down some of the sports here on the Midnight Show, Midnight Run this week. A couple of these on the docket. The housekeeping games. We got the hockey sack 2026 championship.
Hacky sack.
Yes, yes. That.
Clearly, you were not a white boy at a liberal arts college in the early aughts. That was kind of religion for us.
Absolutely not. The bare knuckle fighting ice wars.
Are they fighting? Are they bare knuckle boxing on an ice rink?
They might be. I have to do the research, and I'll let you know.
That's awesome.
Also wrote down your slippery stairs.
You know what? In none of those sports are worried about a lockout. I'm very happy about that.
Right. You're damn
Yeah,
right.
I think we might be prepping for next summer there. All right, though. But for everybody here in studio, for Eli Moon, for Double A Anthony Alford, I am Rob Rozycki. Again, thank you for listening and watching us for the last few hours. I hope you have a great week. Make sure to catch a Midnight Run with Double A tomorrow, actually, and that'll be going all week. And then we got Eli. He's going to be on all week, too. Full docket of action here on the Inside Edge Net. I hope you enjoy. I hope we have a Guardians trade to be talking about tomorrow afternoon. I am not holding hopes, though, so we'll see what happens. But again, for everybody here, I'm Rob Rozycki. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you when we see you.